Yo, 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 YouTube. Welcome back to another week of live eBay low-end card selling with Charlie and, of course, the GOAT. So without further ado, I'm going to add him in here real quick. All right. Can you hear me, Charlie? There he is.
I can
Okay.
hear ya.
Right off the
Stuart,
bat,
the
we
screaming goat is here as
got him in
well.
there. Right on. So we're hoping we get a bunch of commenters added into our stream tonight. Last week we ended up changing the time to 8 o'clock, which is what we're gonna 8 o'clock Central Time, which is what we're gonna stick with. It's easier in the summer for us with so many activities. Charlie with the football coaching and all that. So we're hoping that many of you can join us at that time as well. What else we got in here? So anyway, we have quite a bit to cover tonight. Let me go in here. It's easier for me to look at it on my PC, which is under my camera recording. Pull up our topics for tonight. Charlie, how was your week?
Oh man, it was great with the vacation and everything.
Yeah.
We got back Sunday, but last week's vacation was outstanding. In fact, quick plug, if you're familiar with that area of Wisconsin I was in, down in the southwest corner and across the river in Iowa, but it's called the Driftless area because it was untouched by the glaciers. So there's lots of bluffs and hills. So my wife picked up this Driftless Glen bourbon, bottled in Baraboo.
Oh my God. Funny story. I've been there.
Have you?
Yeah. Just a few months ago, I picked up, they have a Maryland mash whiskey, which is exclusive to the restaurant and the distillery there, and it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, this was a full bottle.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna kill this bottle tonight while we talk.
Do it. Light it up. Well, I'm glad you had a good vacation. Yeah, we did a whiskey distillery tour a few months ago, and Driftless Glen was on our list. It was actually my favorite stop that we made. Their restaurant is amazing. They make gin pickles. So they don't sell them. You can get them, it's like a garnish part of the dish when you eat in the restaurant. And I'll tell you, it was the greatest pickle I'd ever had in my whole life. So on Friday nights, we get together with some friends of ours and have a different dinner each week. And we got one of the guys in the group making pickles every week because he actually called them and they gave him the recipe. So he's growing cucumbers in his backyard now in his garden, and yeah, we got way too into it, but it's so good.
So do you consider yourself a foodie?
I like to eat. Does that count? I don't know.
That's a start.
I'm not like snobbish about it. Like, dude, I'll have Taco Bell, and then I'll also go to like a super nice restaurant and get swordfish. So I think life is super short to just be like, I don't do this or I don't do that or I can't, you got to try to, keep your palate open and look at some different things. There's definitely stuff I don't like, but I try to try as much as I can. And, if I like it, I'll have it again. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
So were you, like just camping or what was this vacation? What were you doing?
This was it was really driven by a family reunion we had on Saturday. So grandma and grandpa they kind of settled into McGregor, Iowa, lived there, North McGregor / renamed Marquette, just up the road from McGregor. When my mother was very young. My grandfather worked on the railroad. I think it was the Milwaukee Road. And as he retired, they were originally born and raised in Tennessee in the hills. And they said, boy, that area really reminds me of, growing up in Tennessee. So they went back to McGregor. And I had an opportunity to live out there with them for a year when I was just a young guy. So that's where Grandpa and Grandma were laid to rest. So we all get together every 2 years. Bunch of family comes up from Texas, Florida. This year we had some folks from California, San Francisco came out, and actually stayed in a cabin on the same property with the house we were in.
Nice.
Yeah, so we had the reunion Saturday in a park in Prairie du Chien, right across from Villa Louis. It's a historical mansion there, right on the east channel of the Mississippi. And as it turned out, the Midwest Water Sports Racing Championships event was going on. So there were jet ski races right next to us the whole time.
Okay.
And then Saturday night, everybody came back to our place because we had a big enough place to host everybody. And, we enjoyed a few drinks, played a few table games around the table. We were playing charades, which was crazy because it was a phone version of charades. And you'd put the phone on your head, and everybody would try to give you clues. But we had 15 people screaming clues at you. So it just sounded like white noise coming at you for the most part.
Sorry, I'm presenting. My bad.
No problem. No problem.
Did it sound like I was setting up for later? Huh?
Everybody said the key was you had to pick one person that you trusted the most and just zone in on their voice.
Sure. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of screaming goats, right?
It was. It was.
Kind of how that goes.
How was your week?
Pretty good. No vacations. No luck for that. But it's officially 1 month until the Nationals. So I'm pretty jacked for that. Starting to pull some of my cards out. I'm gonna put a submission together with Ethan, my buddy that's going with me. He's gonna come over in a couple of weeks, and we're gonna get everything written up and ready to go. Let's see what else. Just a lot of work. Cards have been selling really well. I just keep pounding out that stuff. I did get to go to a card show on Saturday in Appleton.
Okay.
Put a couple videos out about that. Had some nice pickups. Got a pickup of one of your favorite cards for $1. A $40 card for $1. Had a couple offers on it. I haven't quite let it go yet. I figure if it's got some heat, I'll let it ride a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the best offer I've gotten so far was 25.
Okay.
So I'm gonna hold out a little bit. I mean, why not? I enjoy the card. Heck, I'd keep it if it doesn't sell, I'm not gonna cry over it.
Yeah.
So.
Did you see Ohtani's night last night?
No. Somebody said that to check it out, and I haven't had any time yet to look at it. But what did he do?
2 home runs.
Yeah.
10 Ks.
It's
crazy, right?
He's insane. I have my Ohtani stash I've been collecting over the years that I'm not gonna resell. I've pulled out of lots and things like that.
Right.
I have a downtown, which I love. Downtown cards are amazing. I've got some chrome rookies, stuff like that. But that's definitely something I'm gonna try to be on the lookout for at the National. But his stuff's so hot right now, it's not worth buying it when it's like, why would you buy Ellie De La Cruz right now?
Right.
I think Ohtani's a little bit safer long term, but Ellie's got some things to prove yet. But anyway, shout out to MD Sports. Thanks for joining us. We're happy to have you in the chat. Yeah, so that was kind of my week. It was a lot of cards in the week. A lot of Bree was gone for the weekend. My wife to a camping cabin type of thing too. So I had some time with just me and my daughter, and got a few things done around the house. I framed my entire basement over the holiday.
Yeah, theater coming along.
Well, I shouldn't say my entire basement. It's technically just the one room left that we needed to frame. And so we're kind of plunking away at that. Could do some wiring hopefully this weekend coming up with the holiday and stuff. But so today, I have a Jeep, right? So today I had the tops off and the windows down. I never turned on my air conditioning. I'm a Jeep owner, right? So I'm driving to the east side today to run a transaction out to a customer of mine, and I could barely see.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just because of the fog. It was like, when you get too close to the bonfire and it's like you can't even open your eyes because of the smoke and the heat and everything else.
Right.
I almost had to pull off the highway and put my tops back on my Jeep because it was that bad. So it's been an interesting couple of days with that. We haven't really gone outside or have done anything outside because of what's going on. So this morning I looked at the forecast and it said 80 degrees and smoke.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
what it said. I was like, smoke in the forecast. Well, that's new here. It's nothing I've seen before. So I don't know if you got hit by any of that down where you were, but it's been bad here the last few days.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad down there. We noticed it right away when we got back. There was one day that Sunday we started noticing it, but actually it reminds me too of another big thing today. So I ran out on my lunch today. I had to run to the credit union to sign some paperwork for a purchase I wanted to make. And
Sure.
instantly my eyes just started watering. I was like, man, this is bad. But
Yeah,
I did get myself a new toy today.
that's
Maybe
what
I
you said.
can,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe I can share it with you here. Let's
Did
see
you
if
get
that works.
you got like a four-wheeler type thing, right? Bike
Yeah,
kind of thing?
let's check our technology here and see if
See, you
see
want
if
me to
you
throw you
can,
in there?
yeah, see if you can bring it in there. Look at that technology
There it is.
genius.
Ooh, that is fancy.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is fancy.
we finally upgraded from wheelers to a side by side so we can get the whole family out on the trails at the same time.
That's
As
kind
you
of
can
awesome.
see, I also need to invest in a bigger trailer now.
It's so I got some friends of mine who just bought a bigger camper. It's still a pull behind, but it's a camper. And he's like, well, now I have to get a new truck. And now I have
Yeah,
to get a new hitch system. He's like, dude, this camper is going to cost me 3 times what I thought it did because of all the other stuff I gotta put together with it. So,
right, right.
that's that's the price of fun, right?
It is. It really is. We've been talking about this for
That's
a
awesome.
while, and things just kind of fell together. And ironically, this is a used machine that came in the same day as a trade as we stopped in and said, hey, here's kind of what we're looking for. And they're like,
Yeah.
one guy said, we don't have any right now. We'd have to order one. And then the other brother, it's a little family run place, Seminar Sports, repping the hat there too. But
Nice.
the other brother said, well, actually, one just came in on trade. And wouldn't you know it, it's got this Skidoo Bumblebee decal on it, if you noticed, which
Yep.
is my football team's same, essential logo there.
Oh,
So
it's
it was like
kismet,
it was
man.
calling my name. How could
Mm,
I not pull the trigger on it with
Karma. Karma. Well, good for you. I'm happy for you. That's pretty awesome. I know you guys really like it up there and running around on the land, and the boys like
Yeah,
it. So
hoping to hit
that's
the
pretty
trails
cool.
with it Saturday.
Right on. Good for you. Yeah, I was looking at cards. You were on the trails. Everybody was having a good day. So I had pretty good luck at the show. It was not very busy at all. Not like the last
No?
Appleton. Not the last T-Rats show. Summer, the weather was nice. All those kinds of things. But it was presented a good opportunity to find some stuff. So I was pretty happy about that.
Cool.
MD said he was going to try to go, but he just had too much to get through before the national. And I hear that I have work to do too with that, but I hadn't been to a show in a couple of months, and I like that kind of inventory. It's fun to add to the store because it's not necessarily things I would buy in a lot or something like that.
Sure.
Um, and just to get out, if you watch, I don't know if you watched the video at all, but
I did.
ran into a lot of viewers and dealers that I regularly try to make deals and stuff with. And my buddy Brad went to his first card show ever.
Cool.
Um, he likes more of the non-sport stuff and that, so there wasn't a lot of that there, which I kind of prepared him for that. And I think he kind of expected it, but he had fun going through all the boxes with me and finding
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah, I
we
saw
dug
that.
through a lot of quarter boxes and dime boxes and found some goodies. So we were pretty psyched
I have a show
to
coming up Sunday that I'm going to.
yeah,
So
you're
the
going to that Milwaukee show, huh? Yeah.
Milwaukee show at American Family Field. It's in the concourse, I guess, on the third base side. So I did
So
get the VIP passes for early access and going to check that out. So I plan to spend, it's going to be a busy day because we'll go down there. I think we can get in around 8 or 9, something like that.
okay.
And then I have to have the family drop me off at Mitchell Field there in Milwaukee, and I fly out for Huntsville, Alabama at like 6 o'clock that
Jeez.
night. Yeah.
You're crazy with the work schedule and everything. At least, yeah, I don't have to do any travel really, which I kind of like.
This is
I
kind
keep
of
my travel
temporary
to
stuff.
pleasure things instead of work things. I'm fortunate that way, I guess. I don't even
I,
want to drive to the office most days. I'm like, I can just work from home. Come on, That's
I
how bad
enjoy
it is for
changing it
me.
up sometimes and getting out of the office, getting out in the field.
I hear that. That's fair. Yeah, I do a little bit of that. Like this afternoon, I was just it's really tough with what I do at the end of the month, and then of course there's a holiday right at the beginning of the next month, and it lands on a weekend. Like so the
Yep.
whole thing is just it's piling it all. I have 29 closings on Friday, which is
Oof.
insane. And I was like, I gotta get out of the office. I'm like, I'm gonna take some checks and I'm gonna run them to places and get out of the office. It's just a
Yeah.
nice,
Yeah.
nice mundane activity break until I went outside and I couldn't breathe. Maybe it wasn't the best choice, but
So
at
if
the time it seemed
anybody,
like a good idea.
it's a
Huh?
good opportunity for me. If anybody, watching tonight is familiar with any local card shops in the Huntsville area, let me know and I'll
There you go.
try and swing on in there.
Yeah, I was I had to do a work thing out in like La Crosse area. Um this is a while ago now, over a year ago, but I found a little card shop there and I got some really nice stuff. I got some numbered Brady stuff on a good price
Really?
and flipped a few things. And yeah, it's just fun to go in those little, it was one of those old school shops, right, where there's stuff laying around
Right.
everywhere. And
Right.
it was tiny, the place wasn't really kept up, but um had some decent cards, and I picked a few things up, and it was just nice to add that to the trip, have some fun with it.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
you're right. If you're traveling, that's probably your best chance to try to get to some other shops and meet some people and find some deals, hopefully.
Yep.
So all right, well, let's at least mention our topics. We're 17 minutes in here, so I'll at least get to the point of the day here. So we actually have four topics. I threw one on like last minute just because I had to. It's too cool. Um,
I think I
so
know what
first,
it is.
I think you do too. So the first topic we want to cover is lead time on changing seasons, meaning sports seasons. Working through some buyer offers, and I'll add to that also sending offers to buyers
Sure.
that are watching. Um, Auction watching, that is, or listing watching. Presort strategies and some listing priorities. What do you get to first? Where's your death pile? What sits there and what has to get on right away. And then yes, the last one I added is the eBay AI listing tool. I tried it on a couple of listings earlier today, and you really got to have all your details in there correctly for the AI to put it in. But I did it on a card just a few minutes ago, and it's actually pretty cool. So I
It
kind
is.
of want to read it and see what it looks like. It and I did this, and then I thought about it afterwards, and I shouldn't have, but it did have a couple of minor errors
Yep.
in the listing. It said it was a mini card, and it's not a mini card, and
Yep.
things like that.
You want to look it
Um,
over before you hit list.
Definitely
Yeah.
it writes some nice language, and it says great addition to your collection, and kind of puts some selling into it for you, which is nice. Um, I think it needs some tweaking, and obviously it's AI, so it should
Yeah.
learn more things as time goes on. Eventually, I know, and this was actually one of the reasons why eBay had been shutting down quite a bit over the past couple weeks, was the AI tool that they were building. Why they changed servers, because they couldn't host it. They couldn't do AI where they were hosting previously.
Okay.
So they had to move on to their own server systems. But so just a little bit of tech background. But I think the goal would be maybe you take a picture of a card and it's like, it's this. And it fills in all your details, your year, your player, your team, your set, whatever. And that would be pretty cool. I know they had a scanning tool that they came up with a couple of years ago that only worked with like Pokemon and stuff. I haven't heard much about that since. So they were going to try to get it over to sports cards, and it's been a dead subject for a long time. But I think when the AI started progressing so much, I think they were like, well, screw this. The scanning tool is going to be out of date
Yeah.
instantly. Excuse me, we're going to go right into the learning computer that can help us complete some of these things. So so we're going to take a look at that. Just a listing I did. We'll read it a little bit and just have some fun with that, and maybe get some feedback from the chat would be great on if anybody else has used it, what you think of it. Does it even matter? Like, is it something we really need?
Yeah.
I don't believe people really read descriptions on listings. That's my take. I don't really read descriptions unless it says like, damage, read description, something like that.
Yeah.
In the title, then maybe I'll read the description, but as long as there's quality photos there and I know what I'm getting, if I have further questions, I'll just message the seller and ask. But
I probably look at 1 out of every 10 descriptions. If there's something about it, I'm like, kind of wonder about this, and I don't see it from what I got in the title and the picture. My next step is to go to this description. But I started noticing the AI while I was on vacation. I don't know if it was the weekend or just before, and I've been using it since I saw it, and I really like it.
Yeah, it's been let's see, I think I haven't listed a lot in the last couple of days. I was doing other things which we can also discuss a little bit on eBay. And yeah, I think you're right. I think it was Monday when I noticed it. But that might be right because I wasn't really listing on Saturday. Saturday I went to the card show and did all that stuff. Sunday, Pre came home and we had kind of family reorganization time, and I was posting the card show videos take a long time. Yeah. This is like 4 hours editing. My videos aren't even good, and it took me 4 hours to edit it. And so anyway, so I was kind of working on that. I didn't really do listing, and I have to shoot a pickups video. I can't really list that stuff until I shoot a video of what I got. So it kind of put my listings off. So I think I noticed it on Monday, but you might be right. It might have started over the weekend.
Yeah, I know I messaged you when I had been using it for a day or so.
Yes, you did.
And it was correct, definitely before I left my vacation Sunday.
You're right. I do remember that now, yeah.
A weird topic here. I just looked over and noticed this. I also received the strangest package I've ever received today. And I suspect it might be related to cards because this is the package it came in, which I saw it in the mailbox. And I was like, that's got to be cards. But then I looked at the address on it, and it's my name, but a weird address that doesn't even exist. And I will tell you, I took nothing out of this. I opened it up, and that's what's in there. Absolutely
empty?
Nothing. It's empty. Really? I thought maybe it's the card that disappeared on its way to California months ago or something. It finally made its way back or something. Totally empty.
Maybe it was something that opened up, so they repackaged it and sent it on, and that was kind of the remnants of it. It ended up back at you.
But there was absolutely nothing in there. And this isn't something an envelope I sent out,
Was it sealed?
Yes, it was sealed.
And there was nothing in it.
And it shows coming from someplace in Walnut, California, some warehouse.
Oh, is that and they didn't send anything. They didn't send an empty top loader or anything?
No, I couldn't find anything.
I don't know if you know this or if you even remember it, but remember when I got a mailing from eBay?
Yes.
With an empty top loader. Do you remember that?
I do, yeah.
Because they were testing like their own eBay single card shipping, the standard envelope, right? That they were kind of testing that and sending stuff out. So I thought maybe it was that, but it would have been in a plain envelope too.
And it's first class, has a tracking number, like so weird.
It is. That's bizarre. Yes. Well, hopefully it wasn't something amazing that was supposed to be in there, and gift from somebody or whatever. Who knows?
Right.
Doesn't matter, does it? It's not there.
I think I'm putting it in a circular file now.
Yeah, I think that's a good use of it.
Also interesting on the back is this, please save this label, UPC.
For what? Save it for what?
It's a mystery. Like, they're in my head. They know that I have to have an answer for everything.
Yeah, that's bizarre. Someone's watching you. You got some my admirer somewhere sending you, empty.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody blew a kiss in the envelope and mailed it to you.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Ooh, okay.
Not really in your head.
Some airborne disease. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Gosh, I hope not. Maybe it was an envelope of smoke because we don't have enough of that.
And the other weird thing is, again, the address on it, my name was correct, the street was correct, but the address is something that, well, the street was kind of correct. And then the house address doesn't even exist on this block as far as I know.
Strange.
Weird.
Cool. Well, that's fun. Ghost stories, All right. Well, maybe we'll actually cover a topic early today. Let's do the first one here. Let's talk about some lead time on season changes. Kind of the perfect time to bring this topic up. I know it was something you had suggested, and I really liked it too, because we're kind of in that sort of dead zone.
Yeah.
I know baseball's going on, but it's kind of in that time of the season where it's like, there isn't hype for the new part of the year. It's not after the All-Star break yet, although the All-Star break is what, next weekend?
Yeah.
I think it's always 4th of July week or something.
Yeah, the weekend after or something.
Yeah, so then we'll see some transactions and things like that, and that'll probably change that a little bit. And there's definitely activity in the baseball card market.
Yeah.
We just spoke of two players, Ellie and Otani, lighting it up, but what we wanted to really talk about was what is the time frame when you kind of want to focus on a sport that isn't hyped yet. So I kind of don't play that game too much. I sort of just watch for deals when I find deals. I don't really care what sport it is or what season it's in. But I will say that, like for baseball this year, I was buying a bunch of Otani like right when football was, hot in the playoffs and stuff because nobody was looking at baseball. So I think, to me, the lead time is based on when another sport is getting all the attention. That's when you should look at the lead time. So when it's the NBA finals, then you're buying hockey stuff. When it's, the NHL Cup, then you're looking at, baseball. Or
Right.
To me, that's the time when you're doing it, not necessarily like when it's what season, how many weeks before the season or anything like that. I don't know that the specific time frame is quite as important as the fact that the attention, even if it's still in cards, is not on what you're looking to buy or what you should be buying. So I don't know what your take is on that, but I don't put a ton of stock into that. As soon as the football season ended, I waited a couple weeks till nobody cared, and then I was buying Mahomes stuff and Burrow stuff and Josh Allen stuff and Brady stuff and that kind of thing.
I think MD Sports Cards has a good point if you want to put his chat up, because I'm kind of aligned with MD Sports Cards. I feel like when the excitement is there, you need to already have your listings out there. So you need some sense of lead time. And then you have to think about, what do I currently have in inventory for listings? Where do I want to be? And how long will it take me to get there? So
see, it's funny. It's funny because I looked at this topic and I'm thinking about it for my buying.
Yeah.
Right. And you're looking at, well, when should I list? I list anytime I got a second of the day to list, because my price isn't really going to change in season or out of season. And if it sits for a while and it doesn't get bought, big deal. I'll end it and relist later on. And catch some of that hype hopefully at that time.
Yeah, and I think, like MD Sports says, after the hype is when you want to look to be a buyer as a flipper, as a seller. Yeah. But I do think that you want to catch that hype as a seller. Now, you got to remember, you and I are in two different spots. You have 30,000 listings, give or take.
28,000. Okay.
Okay. And I've got, I'm almost to 900 as we speak right now. I slacked a little in this past week with vacation and stuff, but so for me, I look at, so the next big sport in my mind is football, right? I looked at my inventory and I said, okay, I got 200 and some baseball cards. I've only got about 50 football cards. I need to build up some football inventory so that when training camp opens up and people are interested in football, I've got options out there for them.
Yeah, you just need to add like maybe 15,000 football cards or so. So
Right.
we got a little bit of time yet.
Right. So, and this kind of leads into one of our other topics too of listing priorities and pre-sort strategies. When you look at a mountain of cards on your desk that need to be listed, which ones do you grab and start working on?
Mhm.
So
The
for
ones that are going
me,
to sell the quickest.
very
Just,
true,
you
but
know,
also
or the
there's
ones that I feel like listing. To be honest with you, some days I'm like, I just got a really cool complete set of Miss Pac-Man sticker cards. I've kind of talked about these before. They're super
yeah,
hot. They sell really well. Sometimes I just want to list that. I don't want to list a bunch of football and baseball cards, you know.
very
I don't know.
true.
And there's
I
no
did
season to these either, by the way. So
I did the same thing today. So I switched some things up because I was like, I don't want to see another football card for a little bit.
yeah,
So I grabbed some baseball. I grabbed some Superman 2 cards and listed those just to change it up.
yeah,
But predominantly, I know I need to get back to football at some point to
yeah,
increase my inventory there to catch
yeah.
that early season wave and make sure I've got plenty of good, items out there to drive my sales. Similarly, I think about Women's World Cup this summer. I
Yep,
don't even know when
yep.
it starts. It's got to be in the
I,
next few weeks, right?
I think it's in September. I want to say
Is it that late? Okay.
August or September. Yeah, because they're doing like finishing qualifying stuff and that kind of thing.
But that's
I
televised
actually just
too, and
sold.
people are talking about that yet, right?
Yeah, I just sold 2 Team USA women's cards yesterday. I didn't make a sales day video. I didn't have time and other things, but I sold a Hope Solo card who is a
Yeah.
goalie for Team USA, and I sold a Megan Rapinoe. There's a little card company called Parkside.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever heard of
I've
them,
seen
but
that. Yep.
they make a pretty solid like women's soccer product.
Okay.
And one of the like dime quarterback sellers that we see in Green Bay a lot had some women's soccer Parkside, so I bought a bunch of
Yeah.
that. I buy any Alex Morgan I can find ever.
Mm-hmm.
She is by far that and Mia Hamm. I just sold
Hope
an Alex
Solo.
Morgan Sports Illustrated for kids for $20. So they do pretty well.
I have
But you're right.
one.
Yeah, it's a good time
I have
for that.
one women's soccer card, and it came out of a baseball set. You can probably guess which one. Allen and Ginter, and it's
Yeah,
Alyssa
is it
Naller.
Mia Hamm?
No, it's Alyssa Naller. I think her name is.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
She's
no, that rings a bell.
a defender.
Okay.
Um, and a damn good one, from what I understand.
Yeah.
But here's my point: Women's World Cup is coming up pretty quick. I have no inventory for Women's World Cup. If I want to catch some of that, when do I need to start getting some listings out there? Am I already too late? That I don't
I
think
don't
I am
think so
yet.
because there isn't really hype yet.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It's things are different now. The market is just way different than it was, how you could plan on it for years and years and years. It was okay, it's the off season, you buy the cards, done. That was it.
Yeah.
But it's not, there's so many other things that can cause hype and like Victor Wembanyama, right? He hasn't even
Yeah.
been drafted yet, and his auto cards go for like $4,000. Like there should be no hype for this guy. I mean, obviously he's going to be the number one pick. He's really good. Blah blah blah. I
Yeah.
understand why it exists. It's just that's not how it would have been.
Yeah.
With some of these baseball guys, I mean, Ellie De La Cruz was selling for big numbers year ago.
Yeah.
If you were on that early train. So I think baseball is probably the hardest one to work with that way. Um, Football's probably more the obvious, like buy in the off season, sell during the season kind of thing, because
Yep.
there's really nothing that goes on in football for like 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah. So now basketball season just ended, right? So it's going to be a great time to buy. When do you flip that switch and say, I need to get more than just the big fast movers out there? I need to start getting some of those, core team stalwarts out that maybe aren't in the top 10 of volume sellers, but I need to get some of those listed out there.
See, again, I look at it as on the buying side. I don't know. I don't really care about the selling side. if I'm getting the right price, I'm going to buy them, and then
Yeah.
I just list them. I don't list them to try to time it for when it's going to be hot. MD makes a good point. He says with bigger cards, or players that are super hot like Ellie De La Cruz and Otani, if you got bigger cards and you want to sell them, this is obviously the time to capitalize on that. So he's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
But I also agree with his statement: list them if you got them. I mean, what's the point? I'm not gonna. Will they maybe not sell if I list basketball cards right now and it takes a couple months? Maybe, but I don't really care. I need to get them on there. So,
but you're talking as if you can list an infinite number of cards whenever you want, and that's not the reality.
that's correct. Yes. Yeah. And I'm coming from a point of, okay, well, I need to get, Jordan stuff. Well, I have 500 Jordan cards listed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not at a point where I'm like, I don't have any of this. I need to get some of this to put it on there.
Right.
I would simply be adding to my numbers, really.
So that's where I think you kind of look at your current inventory as well to understand, do I need to focus on inventory in this certain area, and maybe we shift into that pre-sort strategies and listing priorities based on that, because that's what I'm going through every day. I look around and I have, I'm still trying to build a lot of inventory on my store, but I have thousands and thousands of cards right now that, I could list a lot of them, but then I look and I say, okay, what do I want to work on? I have an hour to list cards. Am I going to grab my biggest baseball sellers, my biggest football sellers? Am I going to grab some non-sport stuff? And that's where I think you have to have some type of strategy and a way to rank some priorities and how you're going to list, because you have to manage your time.
And I think it's important to recognize too what is important to you when you're listing. Do you want a quick sale? Are you trying to list the card that's going to sell right away?
Yeah.
And I mean, not that I don't want to make sales by any means, but I really don't care if it sells right away.
Right.
Because when I look to buy inventory, right? So let's say I'm going through my drawers and I'm like, oh, here's my Burrow stuff. Here's my, Trevor Lawrence stuff. Here's my Otani stuff. Here's my Jeter stuff. I have my players. I'm a player seller, first and foremost. If I'm digging through that Jeter drawer and I'm like, dude, I could use like a nice big lot of Jeter stuff. I'll just go, that's when I go buy it.
Right.
Especially when you're looking at like retired Hall of Fame players, it really doesn't matter what season you're in. I consistently sell 4 to 5 Jeter cards every week, a couple a day, whether it's baseball season or January,
Yep.
So I think it depends. Like if you're going, let's say I wanted to get and list right now the cards that I think will be the biggest come football season, right? Because you're right, this is the time to put your football out. I'm going to get Trevor Lawrence. He's the thing that's hot right now. Everybody's talking about him. He was a number 1 draft pick. He's got, draft capital. There's all these things going in his favor. He's got a good team, made the playoffs, all this stuff. So if that's the play you want to make, then yeah, absolutely. You're going to want to do that before that true hype sets in. I just don't know that it goes away. Like Trevor Lawrence is hot. He's been hot. His stuff, I've been selling a ton of his stuff in the offseason. Do I add some now? Like if I add some now, is that going to improve anything? I don't know that it would,
So here's an example. So
I dropped the card though. I got to pick it up.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of minutes to list a card, and in front of me, I've got a Juan Soto, an Aaron Judge, a Reggie Jackson, a Patrick Mahomes, a Trevor Lawrence, and a Bo Jackson. And I've got time to list 1 card, maybe 2. I got to have some way to make that decision. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get to is, which gives me the biggest return? Well, right now, it's going to be a combination of 2 things. Which is most likely to sell, and which one do I need most in my inventory?
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that. And when I was first building my store, I did a lot of that too. I would, I had just a ton of Favre. I had 25,000 Favre cards, which was the whole reason I even got into it. And as I was selling them, I went, geez, what other player could I add? Because, I can't just, the market on Favre isn't big enough to just support an entire business. And then I go, okay, well, I'll buy a bunch of Brady stuff. I mean, you can't go wrong with Brady, just won a Super Bowl, all that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't like listing priority. I never really think about that. I just kind of, whatever I've got, I list it. For me, the priority is what am I buying?
Yeah.
Because I think I make the money when I buy stuff, not really
Oh,
when it sells.
absolutely.
When it
But you don't
sells, it
make any
sells
money
because it's
until you
me.
can list it.
Right. You, yes, yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah, that's a tough one. It's really tough. And listing any one of those players is a good list.
Sure.
Like it's not. I mean, I sell a lot of Bo Jackson stuff. Well, he's never going to be in season. I mean, he's
right.
Unless it's like, oh, well, Bo is signing at the National, so I'm going to put some cards up because people might buy some cards to get signed. Like, I mean, Ja Morant is making an album and it's going to be released in a month, so it's not basketball season, but there might be some hype for
But there's
Ja
hype.
Morant because he's got an
Yeah.
album. That was hypothetical. He's not actually releasing an album. I was just.
Well, you don't know that.
I don't exactly. So
Here's what I think of John Morant's album.
To me, when I look at seasons, I look at just to go back to our original topic, lead time on changing seasons. I look at it as the buying part. I'm not going to buy Mahomes when he's one game away from the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
I'll wait till 2 months after he wins it or loses it or whatever, and then I'll buy a lot of, Mahomes stuff at that time. I won't buy Ellie De La Cruz stuff until after the end of the season. He wins Rookie of the Year, and it's a month later, and no one cares. I'll pick up a couple lots of Ellie De La Cruz stuff, some lower end rookies and whatever, which is what I've done with Ohtani the past few years. I've got my Ohtani stuff really cheap. It's like baseball has fire sales when it's not during the season. It's crazy.
Absolutely. So that's a great point. And here I am getting ready to go into a card show. So I mean, I think retired players that are popular, you can get them anytime, right? Like the market really doesn't change much on those. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. But active players, it does get cyclical, unless it's a superstar player. Well, even there, I think you're going to pay more for an Ohtani right now than you will in 6 months.
Correct.
Maybe not a huge gap.
I hope so, because I'll be buying Ohtani in 6 months, just FYI. Because I bought that huge lot of rookie cards and I have like 3 left. I killed it on that.
Yeah.
So there's definitely opportunity in those. I mean, his stuff's, when I was buying his rookies for $1, you're not going to get them for $1. Like there is like a new floor, right?
Yeah.
So right now, if like let's just say a top space rookie is going for like $18, you might be able to get it for $10, right, in the off season, and then now it'll be 20 next year because he's going to have another MVP. So there's definitely like for example, we talked about Ellie De La Cruz. If I had any Ellie in my to be listed pile, would I list those first? You're damn right I would.
Right, absolutely.
So there's some that's real obvious ones where,
that's likely a short shelf life.
Right, because he's still just a prospect. He doesn't have any real production. There's knee injury. There's all these other things. Although the guy's a monster. I finally saw him for the first time, like live, in action, and I was like, holy cow, this guy is something. He looks like a basketball player.
You're right. Call back to last week's show. He's still a prospect until he hits the rookie minimum.
Until he has an RC shield. I know. I'm learning, Charlie. Yeah, I paid attention to your Tops Now card, and I picked up a good one, didn't I?
You did. You
$1. I got it for $1. He had it at $2 and 50% off. I'm like, dude, I'll give you $2.
Right.
Right. I don't know if you watched the video, but I kind of pointed it out in there because I tried to show like my offer, and I offered less, and he came back and he's like, nah, I got to have this $40, and I'm like, normally I won't pay. I always want my negotiated price, but I was like, there's one card in here for $40. Like, this is a no-brainer.
Right. So, right.
And not only that, it's liquid. Like I could sell that card today if I wanted to.
Yep.
For instant profit, but
for sure. So back to heading to Milwaukee, there's not a certain sport or non-sport that you would be like, hey, this is where I really want to focus going in, given this time of year.
No, it's kind of interesting. Generally, when I go to shows, now the Nationals a tad bit different because of just the enormity of it, but I generally don't go in with much of a plan. I just try to find deals. I go through a dime box and I go, yep, I can sell that for $3. Yep, I can sell that for $4, and I just kind of go off of that, and because you really don't know what's going to be there anyway.
Yeah.
Especially with buying the low end stuff. If you're looking for a Zion Williamson numbered rookie card, well, yeah, then there's a little bit of a different plan to set up for that. But I bought. I got to show you this because it's one of my top 10 favorite cards of all time. So let's see, where did I put those? Here they are. So I bought 12 of these.
Jake Plumbers?
You know what this is? Jake the Snake Plumber.
Yeah.
So they've got him. This is the Chrome version. So they've got him sitting on the ground with this like CGI snake around him. And I just love that card. And there was a dealer, my 10-cent Green Bay dealer is actually who I got these from.
Okay.
He had 12 of them. He wanted $1 a piece, which of course I wasn't going to give him $1 a piece, but I'm like, I want all 12 of those. I've sold them in the past. I love that card. And do I need 12 of those? No, but yes. So I bought them all. But I can't go in with a plan and say, oh, I'm going to buy 12 Jake the Snake Topps Chrome rookies this week. The National, you can maybe go in with a little bit more of that type of plan. If you've got enough time and willingness to dig until you find those specific things. But I don't know. The game is, I think the game is tough. And the types of cards we're buying, I don't know that there's going to be that kind of, even when there's the hype, that it's going to have that hype, because they're not special cards or rare cards.
Sure. But I expect I'm going to go there and I'm going to see 15, quarter boxes, something like that. And they're often going to be sorted. These are baseball, these are football, these are whatever, NASCAR. And then I got to choose between, here's how much time I have at this show. Can I get through all of them? If not, where do I start and try and dive into there first?
I think because they're all a quarter, so it's not relevant as to what season it is for any of them. They're all the same price.
Yeah.
I think you go for what you need for your inventory.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. So I would get there
that.
and I'd be like, man, he's got a really nice big box of hockey and there's some decent stuff in here. I barely have any hockey. I'm going to spend a little time, dig out some Gretzky's and some Lemieux. I only buy names that I know. Sidney Crosby.
Get that OPG box.
Yeah. Yeah. Make sure it's actually OPG though. Right. If there's a big quarter box of non-sport cards, I'm probably going to that first, because you never see them ever. And if I can get a bunch of old Superman, Batman cards, Pokemon stuff, I shouldn't say Pokemon. I don't really do Pokemon, but like sticker cards from old 70s and 80s packs, like, dude, that stuff's gold. At a quarter a piece, that would be my first spot. But I have a heart for that. There's a lot of, card sellers gonna be like, I don't want any of that stuff. I don't know anything about Pac-Man. I want whatever, Barry Bonds stuff, or I want, but most of the stuff that I'm buying is not tied to really hype. So MD wants my Pokemon. Well, guess what? I don't have any. I have very, very little.
My boys have had a good run selling Pokemon this week.
Yeah, I understand the market's big. I get why a lot of people are into it. I think that's awesome. It's just not my lane, and I don't have interest in it. And if I don't, I'm going to end up screwing it up. I'm not going to do the research to get the right prices. I'm not going to sell at the right time, and
big deal now is with those Magic cards, right? Chasing the ring.
Yeah, it's like 1.6 million or something. That was the bounty, I think.
It's a cool promo.
I got up to, but. And I think that's great. I'm happy to see modern non-sport things go. I don't really do modern non-sport. I like the old 70s and 80s and 60s and those wax packs and that kind of thing. I think they're undervalued. They weren't that highly printed, most of them, as sports cards were. I think film and characters and music and all that stuff. I think
I mean,
those
how
things hold
how
their
can you
place.
not be like, I need that? I need that
That
Christopher
Superman,
Reeve
yeah.
Superman card.
They look really awesome graded, for display and stuff like that. They like, let's say you had a really cool Superman cape that you got autographed or something that was in a frame. That card would look sweet in there with
Yep.
that. There's just there's a nice little spot for non-sport. There's a lot of sellers that don't sell them, so it's a nice little market that I'm in that a lot of other sellers don't participate in. There's lots of times where I'll sell a sports card and a non-sports card to one buyer.
Yeah.
So you can kind of hit a couple different nostalgias at one time. But there certainly isn't a season to that. So that maybe is somewhat of an advantage, but also maybe somewhat of a disadvantage. It's the price is the price. You're not really gonna. Basically, the only deal I ever really get on non-sport is by buying quantity.
Sure.
Because the price doesn't really fluctuate. So I know I can sell these, Ninja Turtle sticker cards for $3 a pop. So if I can get 40 of them for 20 or $25, I'm good.
Yeah.
But
that's also why I think going back to our topic of, lead time on things, like those make great bridge products, like,
right,
because you can do it anytime.
Mm-hmm. And it adds some interest because the job is grindy, right? It's not for everybody. And sometimes you're right. I get bored of listing, 25 Patrick Mahomes cards. I just want to do something different. And, I bought Dragon's Lair stickers and I've got a bunch of, I bought all the Sonic stuff, which has sold really well. I was surprised at how much that stuff was worth. Early Nintendo stuff, that kind of thing. Bought a bunch of Power Magazine, Nintendo Power Magazine tearouts because I really like the Sports Illustrated for Kids stuff. So I started looking at non-sport tearout cards, and I just think it's fun. It makes your store more dynamic. It brings in buyers that aren't interested in Derek Jeter, and
Right.
So yeah, I don't know that we really answered what you should do for lead time. I don't think there's an answer. I think I don't know.
There's no
There's a lot of
one
variables.
answer.
A lot of variables. Well, I'm gonna go back to this. So Master Shake posted, yeah, Otani is killing it, right? And then actually that wasn't the one I post. Hold on. Right here, he's post Mahomes stuff is going down currently. Exactly. I'm buying lots of Mahomes right now. So as soon as the season hits and they go 6-0 or whatever, silly number, and he starts throwing passes with his left hand and over his shoulder and all this stuff,
Sidearm.
and gets 4 touchdowns in a game, everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, I better get some Otani. I better get some Mahomes stuff." So right, that football, I think, is the easy one to be honest with you. I think it's easier than basketball. Is weird because it's got an international flavor to it. There's certain players that sell where I'm like, why is anybody buying this player?
Yeah.
There's lots of trades, and I think it's just different than, like, Josh Allen is the quarterback of the Bills, and he's going to be the quarterback of the Bills, right? For a very long time. Towards the end of careers, those players do change teams. We just saw that with Aaron Rodgers. Most quarterbacks end up somewhere else for the last few scrappy years. Hell, even Tom Brady ended up somewhere else for his last couple scrappy years. But other than that, it's like, I know where he's going to be. I know he's going to play every week, barring injury. I mean, obviously injury changes everything in every sport, but I just feel like it's the one that's more solid and easier to time, because it's just been proven year after year after year after year. Versus, I think baseball might be good too because it's really dead in the off season. Like, no, I think baseball has fan issues as it is. Maintaining fans. It's seen its numbers drop quite a bit. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. I don't know, but
I,
whatever I've got to list, I list, and I do it by feeling. I'll go, I get a bunch of these, chrome numbered cards. I haven't listed anything, chrome and numbered for a while. They're not big names, but yeah, I'll put some mosaic in there, some color, some, shiny stuff, just to
yeah,
draw that eye in. And I just kind of keep doing that until it goes. And you'd be surprised at what sells. There's all kinds of junk players, that don't really have hobby, but their mom buys them.
right. I also have this irrational fear that at the back of some pile are some cards that I really could have just flipped real quick, and I never got around to listing them.
And that could be the case. That's the chance you take. Especially if you're buying like weird random lots of stuff. There's a higher possibility that you're going to get something in there. And actually, that was one of the things I was doing this week. The bit of listing I was doing even before the show here. I was listing some like weird quarterbacks, right? So I put some like Marcus Mariota stuff up. I put some Geno Smith. I did some Sam Darnold, because those are kind of like maybe these guys will get like a 1 week start and somebody will buy like 10 of their cards.
I don't know
So
about
I think it's
10.
almost more. I think it's almost more important to try to take advantage of those guys that won't sell. To try to get them into when there's going to be some hype. Like you can list Patrick Mahomes cards anytime; they are going to
Right.
sell eventually. So
Yeah, I mean, as I looked through my past week and trying to list some cards, I looked at my inventory. I said, I need to get more football stuff out there.
yeah.
And then we talked, I think it was last week, about a lot of football cards that I received, a lot of color and prisms in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat down with that and I said, okay, where do I want to start with this? And I ended up sorting it out by position and starting with the
Mm-hmm.
quarterbacks, because in the NFL, that's where the money's at, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
So, and then I sorted my quarterbacks by highest movers to lowest movers. So I started with those Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence and
Mm-hmm.
um, Justin Herbert and guys like that, and got those listed first, and then moved into the Marinos and the Favres and the Rodgers and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then eventually you get down to the Trey Lance and I don't even know who else. The Donovan
Justin
McNabb.
Fields and
Yeah.
yeah. I think so to that end, how I usually do that is I do whatever is easiest for me to get through the listings quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So if I've got a pile of Mahomes and then a couple Josh Allen, a couple Trevor Lawrence, whatever, I'll probably start with the Mahomes because I can just keep doing sell similar, it keeps the same
Right.
player name in, and then I just change the set. Or I'll do it the other way. Let's say I've got 10 different cards, but they're all from 2020 Mosaic.
Yep.
Well, it's all the same set. So then I just got to change the player name out and post them. So I kind of go by whatever is going to be the easiest for me to get the listings done real quickly, because I don't use a scanner. I don't use any of that
Right.
stuff. So
Try to get things similar so you can change as little as possible from one listing to
yep,
the next. And that's kind
correct.
of my strategy as well.
Yeah, I think it has to be, because the more you list, the more you can sell. So
Yeah.
the point is to get them on there. I don't put a lot of pressure on myself about that. I kind of did when I was first starting too. That's natural. Like, oh, if I got more out there, but I have so many sales and stuff now, and I have so many offers coming in and offers I'm sending out and things like that. It's like
Yeah.
I have like business activity. I don't necessarily need to add inventory like at this very moment because I have results. So when I was sitting around, I'm like, well, I have like 2 sales today. I've got all this time because I'm not really, that busy on the back end of the results. All right, I'll go shop for lots, and I'd buy like 10 or 15 different lots of players in a day, spending
Yeah.
a ton of money and putting a ton of money into it. And now I'm like, I don't even have a half hour to look up anything to buy. I've kind of kept it to the card shows, and then just a few lots that I like here or there. I like a lot of random stuff right now, just to give me some variety. to list. And just I'm constantly in my head, I'm going, what don't I have? That's what I want to buy if I
Yeah.
can find it for the right price. So I go, I don't have that much hockey, but I keep it to players that I know the names of because I don't follow the sport at all, like
Right.
at all. um, I go to sets that I like that you don't see real often, that like the Super Glow stuff, right? Remember the Tyson and that stuff? That stuff sold really well. The Upper Deck non-licensed stuff, things like that.
Sure.
I like the Match Attacks soccer game card stuff, the NFL 5 game card stuff. I try to look for things that not everybody else is going to have, and stock a lot of that. So, but yeah, listing, like if I have like stacks of NFL 5 stuff that have been sitting here forever. Most of it is just, common players or some of the game effects cards and things like that. I just don't have motivation to list them, so I'm just not. Now, this
Okay.
is football. Should I be listing all of this? I don't know, maybe, but I don't want to, so I'm not going to. And no one can tell me I have to. Um,
You definitely get
I don't
fatigued
know.
with some of that stuff sometimes, right?
Well,
Like you need
and
to change it up.
and sometimes when I look at that stuff, like I've listed boxes of that stuff previously, so I know I have some of those listed. I would basically just be adjusting quantities.
Right.
So it's not like, I don't have any of them for sale. So I don't know. To me, there's just a ton of, variables that go into that decision. Master Shake says the One Ring is up to 2 mil. So that was a nice jump over the last couple days.
Nice.
I don't really follow that, and I won't be buying any of it, but it's pretty cool to have a bounty for, a non-sport card like that, I think.
And what is the One Ring like? What is the significance of that if you find it, other than the bounty?
I think it's a one of one, right? It's the only
Is
one
it?
that
Okay.
exists. And I mean, if you know Lord of the Rings, basically the whole goal is to get the ring, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, the ring is only
I
one of
mean,
what, 7? Something like
right, yeah.
that?
Um, but there's the one ring, yeah.
The one
So I
ring to
think
rule
that's,
them all.
right, one ring to rule them all. Um, every time I think of Lord of the Rings, I think of Clerks too. Have you ever seen that movie?
I have, yeah.
And he's like, it's the dumbest movie. It's just walk, 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 throw a ring in, and nothing happens. Okay, let's walk back home. And I'm like, he's not that wrong.
No, he's not.
No, no hating on Lord of the Rings by any means, but yeah, it's pretty funny to hear it told that way. So yeah, I think it was a cool idea. It's the perfect um, prop entity, whatever, to go to as a 101. I mean, it just makes a
Yeah,
lot of sense. So I think it's cool. It'll be fun when somebody pulls it. It'll put hype into cards.
definitely.
There'll be videos out there. It'll be in the Wall Street Journal because it's worth this $2 million. So then people will care because it has money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good. Yeah, Master Shake clarifies. Yep, it's a one of one, and also that he loves Clerks. Good
Who
man.
doesn't?
Because if you don't like Clerks, I don't know if I can trust you. That's kind of how that works for me. I've met Jason Mewes a few times. Kevin Smith, super nice guy. Back in the day when like no one cared, we go hang out with them at their booth. They'd sign stuff for you for free. Like that totally doesn't happen anymore. But yeah, they make amazing stuff. He says he doesn't follow Magic the Gathering, but it's been huge for that market. Yeah, exactly. I think it's
Yeah, for
good
sure.
to Magic the Gathering really hasn't had a um like chase card per se. If you look at original Magic the Gathering, where you've got like the Black Lotus, was never really designed as a chase card. It just, when the game really took off and everybody had to have the alphas and betas and stuff like that, it became like the chase card, but it was never intended that way. So I think it's fun to do that. I think Pokemon has some idea, or maybe it was the 25th anniversary, they put some kind of chase card in, and so I think you're going to see a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see more of that too with sports products when Fanatics takes over. We saw that a little bit with Big League this year, where they have the opportunity to have a player follow you on social media. Thought that was
Yeah.
a pretty cool prize. So it'll be interesting to see if, if more and more of that stuff kind of comes about and, add some more hype to what's going on as well. All right, let's move on to our next topic. We're an hour in here, so
All right.
um, I think we're good on the last topic, are we? I mean,
I think so.
we kind of threw it around all over the place. We never really came up with a result, but I think that's why I think a topic for discussion doesn't need an answer, right? It just
Right.
needs to be discussed. Like
We
there
talked
isn't an
about some of the
answer.
factors.
Right, exactly. There's some things to think about, and then you have to, hopefully through our experience or our thoughts, that gives everybody some idea of, some approaches they want to make. There's no right or wrong. I'll get messages sometimes and they're like, what do I have to put in my listing? And and I'm like, I don't, you have to do what you're comfortable with,
Yeah.
make it honest, take good photos or make a good scheme, or I'll get message. Actually, I had a buyer in eBay message me today and asked me what kind of scanner I use. I'm like, dude, you just bought a card from me. Can't you tell it's not scanned?
Yeah.
um, and I'm like, well, I guess I take good photos then, because if you can't tell,
Yeah.
and I said, I don't use a scanner at all. There's no right, there's no wrong. You just have to sort of
Yeah.
figure out what works for you. And if you think these are the best things to list right now and they'll get you good sales, then list them. Like,
Yeah, I know you and I do
and
it differently. I list a lot more details than I think you list.
yeah, I don't list much at all, because generally, like, here's a Lamar Jackson, Donruss variation photo red press proof card, right? So I'm going to put all that in the title. That's a giant mouthful. If that doesn't hit what somebody's searching for, whatever I put in the details isn't going to add to that.
Sure.
I put the card number, I put the player name. If I have some space, or it's important for the team, I might put the team name on it. But I've never had something not sell because I don't have as much details in it. Um, So I do, if it's a bigger card, especially if I don't know the value and stuff, I'll do a list similar, or I'll do a sell one like this off of
Sure.
a previous sale. And usually the previous sale has pretty good info in it. That's why it sold over maybe somebody else's listing. And I do that. And that kind of brings up another subject that I have to admit, um, I was way against, and I've
Your
changed my
change of
mind because
heart?
I was just, man, this is tough for me because I have to admit I was wrong. So far, I have to do a little bit of math on it yet because I have to figure in some of the. There was one card I sold today. Okay, so just a quick overview here. I added promotions to most of my listings, which I didn't ever want to do because I think eBay gets enough money, or Feebay, as people like to call it. But I talked to Bo actually about this yesterday, and I said, "Well, what do you think about promotions?" He's like, "Dude, it's like turning the sales faucet on." He's like, "It sucks, but you got to do it." And I was like, I tried it with a couple of cards, and I got sales like almost instantly. And I'm like, this is it. Now, um, the reason I did it was because I've got really good sales. My listings keep increasing, and I've got good feedback. Although things are moving in the right direction, I just wanted something to give me that next level bump, because my goal is to do $300 a day. I'm at like 120 to 140 every day. Obviously, once I hit 60,000 listings, that's going to increase that number as well. But I just wanted something that can maybe move me forward a little bit right away. And man, did it ever. But I did have a card today that I sold, because I use the dynamic promotions
Okay.
pricing. I don't know how familiar you are with promotions, but if you choose the dynamic, what it does is it figures out what the average is that day for like the best boost. So let's say it might be anywhere from 8% to 12%, right? But
Okay.
it's based on, like, every card is different, and dude, it's not transparent. It's super hard to follow. After the card sells, you kind of have to go back into the card and look at like all your fee structure to see what it even cost you. And I don't like that part.
Yeah.
But I had one card today that I sold for like $4, and I think my promoted listing fee was like 62 cents. I was like, what? So that thing must have been at like 15 or 16%.
Yeah.
Now I still made money on it, and it was something that sold and on inventory, and you don't go broke taking profit, right? It's
Right.
still more money for me than it was the day before. But I was like, man, I got to watch some of these a little bit, because if those percentages are really high, I might want to not stay in the dynamic range.
Does it have a range though that it commits to stay within?
It's up to you. You can set limits. You can set
Okay.
your rate. You can set a minimum rate. You can set a high rate. You can do all that. And I have 28,000 listings. I wasn't going to go through and plunk on each one of these things.
Right. Right.
So I just went and changed everything to the dynamic, which is what it
Yeah.
suggests. And I figured I'm just going to let this go for a while and see what it does.
Because I haven't done the dynamic. I've done some at 9%. Usually 9% is kind of my go-to rate.
Right.
But I haven't done the dynamic at all.
Yeah. But here's another thing I learned about promotions. Let's say you have, and I think I might have even mentioned this before, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but let's say you have a card that you have a quantity of 12 of in your store, right? And you sell 2 in the last 2 days. eBay will promote that item even if you don't have promotions on, because they smell a sale. So I actually had that with one of the Farv cards. And if you watch any of my sales day videos, you'll hear me sometimes in the video say like, well, here's the 4th one of this card I sold this week. I don't know why all of a sudden these are all, and it's like a 2016 base Rookies and Stars Brady, right? Like, why is that card hot? No, it doesn't make any sense. But I found that out because I went back and I looked at my promotion ranking or whatever on some of the cards that had sold that I didn't have promotions on, and it was because they had a chunk of previous sales.
Really?
So I found that really interesting. So you could almost turn promotions on something you have quantity of, right? So if you have 1 and it sells, that's the end of it, obviously. But
Right.
say you got 20 of something, you turn promotions on, you sell a couple of them, you could maybe even just turn promotions off, and you'd still get more sales out of that because it would be promoted by eBay's algorithm. And then you wouldn't have to pay the promotion fee. So that's my next thing I want to try. If I catch something where I see like, oh, this is an unusual amount of sales on this card, I'm gonna turn the promotion off and see if I still get some more sales out of it. So that's kind of the one thing I caught. That, and the fact that I had one card that it was like outrageous. It was like 20% or something that it was the promoted fee amount, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. No one wants to pay that much.
What about, that's individual listing promotions? What about like store promotions? Like, could you do like a 6-hour flash sale, in your entire store?
I did a couple of those last year when, again, I was just trying to build sales. I have so many sales now. I don't really put a lot of pressure to get sales, other than I just wanted something to slightly boost it without really any of my own effort other than turning the promotion on. Yeah, you can create your own promotions. You can send coupons. You can create sales. You can do percentage off on something. And I don't really do that individually. Every one of my listings has a quantity discount. They all have send offers with no minimum. And they all have this dynamic promotion right now. And I feel like that's enough. I don't think I want to send coupons on top of that. I don't really want to. I don't know. I don't know that, like, I guess I have a number of like regular customers that maybe now that would be something that would be more reasonable to like just do a store sale kind of thing. But I don't know how many people are like looking at my 1996 Topps Brett Favre card and just waiting for a sale to buy it. Like,
True.
you know what I mean? I don't
said
know.
something that
That's
caught
a
my
weird one.
attention there, though, Adam. You said you have a quantity discount on every listing.
Correct.
Now, how does that work? Because when I list, if I have more than one copy of a card, I can do the volume discount. But if I just have,
you can do the volume discount on a single card too.
Can you? So it combines with other cards?
Correct. So let's say they buy, one 1992 card and then one 1993 card. They'll get whatever the second card discount is on that second card. They have to add them all to cart. If they buy each one individually, they don't get the discount. So they would, they'd have to put them all together and then check out as one payment.
So that should be something I could go to my listings, select all, do a bulk edit, and
Yep.
I should be able to do quantity discount.
Correct. Do a quantity discount, and then you can choose your percentage based on like how many cards you sell. You could do like 5%, 10%,
Yeah, it always
20%.
defaults to that 3-tiered table, right?
Correct. And I've just left it at that because honestly, that second card I give a 5% discount on, and it saves me a ton because you don't have the additional shipping materials. You don't have the second 30-cent transaction fee. You don't have the extra back end cost. It's one stamp or one, eBay shipping, postage, whatever you want to call it.
So I've
60
been doing
cents.
that wrong. I've only been putting the quantity discount on multiple card listings.
No, you want to put it on everything. Yeah, just go through and just do a bulk edit. You don't have to go through each one and just add it onto every listing. Yep. And obviously, if they do buy 5 of one card, it does apply to that too. It will get the discount for that too.
That makes me feel bad. Stuart, what do you think of that?
He's in shock. He doesn't know what he thought he knew you. He's like, I'm supposed to trust this guy drinking his whiskey and not offering discounts. I mean, what kind of
how am I going to get my hay in alfalfa?
The selling multiple cards is by far the easiest way to make money selling on eBay, in my opinion, because it just cuts out so much extra expense. So anyway, let's see what Master Shake said here. He says, going back to high quantity scanners for cards, I think he meant quality. JMax Sports Card has some excellent videos for the scanner he uses. He also touches on using sales like you mentioned. So I think what he means is the previous sale and then kind of building off that sale. Yeah, the scanner thing, I'm an old dude and it takes me a while to get past things. I might do a scanner down the road. I don't know. If I was doing this full time, I would 100% have a scanner because I would want to be throwing in as much stuff as I can, selling it as fast as I can, and throwing more stuff in. But I also have to watch how fast and how quickly I build this because it's not my focus of my entire life, my work life, I should say. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel like I don't like the picture of the that the scanner takes. Now, one thing I did learn, and this happened recently, I don't know if we discussed this last time, but there scanners now that do front and back, I believe. That was one of my biggest complaints was, well, I want a picture of the back of the card. Especially if you're doing vintage and stuff, that thing can be off-centered. It can have a wax stain. It can have a writing on it.
Yeah.
Heck, I have some that are blank, which, by the way, are good sellers, just like miscuts. But yeah, I've heard now that there's scanners that do both sides. So that does help me, maybe move towards that step. But just the cost and I don't know. And then I have to use a PC when I list, which I don't. 99% of the time I'm using my phone
and what about
I don't know,
refractors and hollow cards, like really getting that image to show that hey, this is truly a refractor.
And I think it just helps me prevent errors. I feel like the larger the numbers I work with and I'm throwing around at one time, the more I could have a mistake that I don't catch. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just not at the scanner point. I've actually gotten some feedback from some customers that said that they liked that I took a picture of the actual card. They knew it wasn't just some, standard photo grabbed from somewhere because it wasn't scanned. It wasn't, shopped. It was legit my camera taking a picture of the actual card. So I don't know if that's what my customers want, then that's definitely the way I'm going to keep doing it, but we'll see. Let's see. Bargain Boxer says, I just caught the show. What did I miss? Everything. So you
missed that Adam's going to go out buying Magic the Gathering in bulk to try and chase the ring.
The one ring to rule them all. And then you throw it in a volcano because why not? Right.
Right.
I mean, yeah,
and a good Clerks discussion.
Right, yeah. You missed the Clerks. Go back and watch Clerks too, then you'll catch up entirely on the show.
There you go.
Right. You could fast forward through the donkey show part if you want. I don't think that really applies here. Maybe if it was a goat show, right? If it was a goat show, it would
Yeah, the
work
goat
with
show.
our channel. Bargain Boxer wants to know, when is Topps going to make a dollar box influencer card? Hopefully never. I really don't want to participate in that. I mean, if they called me, would I do it? I suppose, but yeah, that's not really my aim in life by any means. I actually have quite a few trading cards of myself. I do Star Wars costuming, so I have had a lot of cards made, and I hand them out, and I'll sign them and stuff like that. But yeah, as far as an influencer card, not so much. I could make my own. I don't really need to wait for Topps. Actually, I could even make them through Topps. Topps
That's
lets you do
true.
custom. Charlie knows. He made one for his spouse.
I did. Mother's Day,
Yeah.
like 2005. My wife got her own Topps card. Mother of the
Right?
Year.
So, I mean, you really don't need Topps to like come around and actually photo you in their weird looking baseball jersey and put you in a product. But again, that is a cool thing that Big League did. You know, they're trying to expand and get into some of the wider part of the market at an
Something
affordable
different.
price. That product, I bought another hobby box of that. I shouldn't say another. I bought my first hobby box. I had bought blasters before, but I bought a hobby box of that this weekend. I just love that. I got it for $35, and it's such a fun rip. I sell a bunch of it. I sold one of the trout fishing cards today.
Yeah.
Well, technically yesterday. I shipped it today. $5 I got for that card. I mean, you pay like 75 cents a pack for that. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's 18 pack. Pay like $2 a pack for that stuff.
See,
So I mean, they're just extremely affordable.
that goes back to our earlier discussion about, trying to figure out what to list sometimes. So I oftentimes, if it's not the hot prospect names, so I'm going to talk about baseball. If it's not the hot prospect names, I'm usually putting 2023 cards on the back burner, and I'm trying to get some other stuff out. So I have a ton of Big League and Series 1 just sitting on a shelf right now waiting.
Yeah, and that's just one of the constant dilemmas you'll have, because it's way more fun and easier to get stuff than it is to sit and take a picture of
Yeah.
each,
Yeah.
and file it somewhere and blah blah blah. Yeah, that's just something you're going to face till the end of time, and that's okay. In a way, it's really nice to be able to participate in a business where you never have to worry about getting product, because not everybody has that advantage these days. And in fact, during the pandemic, it was hard to get new product in this hobby. So you can get what you need. There's plenty of dollar boxes, quarter boxes, dime boxes out there. You'll never run out of inventory unless you're really trying to run out. So Master Shake says, yes, he did mean quantity, meaning you could stack a bunch of cards in and then they just keep scanning, which he's right. Obviously, the whole point of the scanner would be to get a bunch of stuff, scanned in at one time, use some sort of card listing program where it builds all the cards in, and boom, you upload them to eBay. So I certainly get that part. Master Shake says he also likes pictures, but it feels like the seller takes more care in each listing. Exactly. I want to show that this card is not just important to the buyer, it's important to me too, and I'm going to take care of it, and this is exactly the card that you're going to get when you receive it. Other than the ultra modern multiple copies of stuff, I'm not going to take a photo of each one. I'm going to list them as quantity. But I think buyers understand that. If they go in and it says there's 10 available and they buy one, it might not be the one exactly in the photo. But yeah, I don't know. I like pictures. I'm sorry. I can't get past that part. And the cost of the scanner and all that. And again, I have to use my PC every time I want to get pictures and, get them on I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me yet.
Yeah, I'm not there yet either.
I've heard someone wanted Charlie's Auto. Have you heard that? Yeah. I messaged you about that earlier today.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of fun. I'm like, this has to be someone because I know you'd been sharing some links to the videos and things like that to your own people. And
are you accusing me of setting that up?
That's why I was like, this has to be like his grandma or something, right? Yeah, it was pretty funny. And then we actually you had replied to that comment on the video. And then that person replied back and they were like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean the Charlie in your videos. I meant some other Charlie Sheen or something. I don't know. So yeah, that was pretty ruckus. I enjoyed that immensely. He's like, Charlie's Auto, sure. I'm sure he'd sign something for you, if that's what you
I,
really want.
I told him, I said, if I get an influencer card, he'll be the first one to get an auto.
Right. Oh, that was look who it
Yeah, that
was.
was
It was
Master
Master
Shake.
Shake. That's right. That's right. Because I messaged you. I'm like, who's this Master Shake? That's funny. That's funny. And he's in the chat tonight. My apologies, Master Shake. It didn't click until you just said it now. But yeah, we had a good time with that earlier this morning, so I appreciate that. You had no idea what you did, but you did it. So it was fun. Boxer wants to know, are you going to the National?
Unfortunately, no. I've got some prior commitments. So I'm gonna miss this one. I have not been to one yet. So Adam and I are already talking about next year.
Yeah, next year would be a bit of a road trip because it's Cleveland.
Excuse me.
But I looked it up and it's really not that long of a drive. It's like 7 hours, I think, from our area. So I think it could be fun. I've never been to one outside Chicago because they're here every other year. So I never really felt the need to go out. But certainly if I need inventory and, there's just so much opportunity there. The Panini Silver packs are straight fire. The gold packs are fire. You get all these promotional items from the different companies. It literally costs you nothing to go to it if you just get a few things while you're there that you can resell. It's just there's such cool opportunities there. Lots of people you can meet, and endless amounts of 10-cent boxes, quarter boxes. All my favorite things on this earth are right there, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'm super jacked to go at the end of July. This is kind of my first time going to one where I'm legit a dealer on eBay instead of just kind of plunking around with a few sales. So
okay,
it widens my what I'm going to be looking for a little bit. I bought just a lot of really fun things that I knew I could resell last time, but now it's like gung ho to pick up inventory that's going to sit for like 3 months till I get around to listing it all. So what?
And then you have to have a strategy on how you're going to list it.
Right. It's going to be, look at that stack. I'm going to grab part of a stack and go because you can't be picky after, at some point. So Master Shake says Charlie Barons, he's man here in Wisconsin. I have no idea who Charlie Barons is.
Keep her moving, Adam. Keep her moving. You never watched the Manitowoc Minute?
No.
Oh my goodness. I've got to educate you.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. So anyway, no, this is not Charlie Barons. So no, that's somebody else. All right. Bedtime. Take it easy, guys. Thanks, Master Shake, for joining us. Appreciate it. Thanks for all your chat. It really helps keep the conversation going with getting some other ideas and some feedback. So appreciate it. You have a nice night, and hopefully we'll see you next week. We're gonna continue our 8 o'clock Central Standard Time on Wednesdays. Watch for I usually try to put like a little promo thing up on my YouTube live notification thing just to kind of let everybody know that what we're doing for the show and put our topics out there and stuff so that when people join, hopefully they'll have some feedback for that as well. All right, and then Bargain Boxer says, time for me to dip too. You dip? Why you dip?
Who was that? Was that like Master P or something? When I dip,
no,
you dip, we dip.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When you dip, we dip. You dip. Yeah. Was it him?
It was like late 90s or something, I think.
Yeah, it was, but I don't know if it was Master P though.
That's gonna be in your head
interesting.
now.
Anyway, yeah, so I guess Bargain Boxer is gonna have to take off. So again, thanks for joining us. It's my buddy Brian. I appreciate you continuing to participate in the chat and stopping by, and we'll see you next week, I'm sure. It was good to see you at the show on Saturday, by the way. So take care. Yeah, so let's get back to the topics here. We're an hour and a half in, so we're killing the daylight a little bit here, but working through buyer offers. This is something that I do a lot of. I know some sellers are like, no, I don't accept offers. I don't send offers. I don't want to deal with any of that. I think that's a huge missed point. But in the same light, that's one of the things I realized about finally adding promotions that it helps me on, because I would constantly send offer. Well, if you're going to send an offer, it's got to be less than your asking price, right?
Right.
Or if someone's going to send you an offer, it's got to be less than your asking price. So it's like, well, I don't want to do promotions because then I lose some more percentage to eBay for the sale. But what I realized was people pay full price under the promotion. So I actually end up getting more money out of it.
Okay.
I don't have to do anything. I don't have to send an offer. I don't have to entertain an offer. But that being said, you're still going to get offers and you're still going to send offers. I think offers are a great way to offer your customers a little bit of a discount. I like it when I get multiple offers from a buyer because I can go, yep, I'll give you that discount because you're buying quantity and I can ship all these and save the money on my end. I'll give you a little bit of a deal on your end. I like the everybody wins storyline. That's my favorite. I want my customer to be happy, but I also want to make some money and make it worth my time and effort as well.
Right.
So that's the main thing I look at when I see offers. Now, let's say I have a card I put out there for $20 and somebody offers me $1. That's no bueno. That's not going to happen. They know it's not going to happen. You and I talked about this the other day that you were frustrated by that. And I said, well, I take it on a case-by-case basis. Sometimes I'm annoyed by it. I'm like, no, declined. I don't want to deal with it. And then other times I'm like, I'll counter at $18. See if the guy's actually serious. The person is actually serious. And sometimes they are. Sometimes they'll counter at that and they'll buy it. I'm like, you offered $1 and then you took my offer at 18. I think it's pretty weird. They're just trying to get you to throw out your lowest price, right?
Yeah.
It's a tactic. Now, if they come back and they're like, okay, $4, I'm like, nah, we're still too far apart. This isn't going to happen. And even when you try to do a deal in person, you have to do that. Well, this is my price. Well, that's not even close to my price. So I just don't think we're going to be able to make this work out. There's nothing wrong with that. If it doesn't work for the buyer and it doesn't work with the seller, don't do it,
And that's exactly how I look at it and why I put offer eligible on everything but my lowest price stuff where I would be at a loss if I go any lower. But I look at it as I want it to be similar to the experience at a card show. Like, you and I are never going to go into a card show and say, oh, you want $6 for that card? Okay, here you go. Right. Like we're out. Part of the hobby and card show experience is the negotiation. Like everyone expects the negotiation. So I put best offer on all but my lowest price listing.
So this is what I'm going to tell you on this one. I put best offer on all my lowest listings. You want to know why?
Why?
Because of quantity offers.
Okay.
So I had a buyer today who regularly buys. He's obviously building a Favre collection because he's been buying by the year from me. And he needed a bunch of $1.29 base cards that I have 50, 60 copies of.
Sure.
That I'm asking $1.29 for, and he threw $1 at me for each one. And it was 13 cards, 13 cards, something like that. I'll take $1 each for those.
Yeah.
That's a good sale. I can ship 12 cards, remember. 6 cards in one of these, 6 cards in one of these, tape them together, put it in an envelope for 84 cents. So, I figure on those cards I paid 15 to 17 cents a piece. That's a good profit margin in there.
Yeah.
On cards that aren't like big sellers, right? That I have quantity of besides. So that's why I allow it. Now, if he came in and said, okay, that's $1.29 for that card, I'm going to offer you $1, I can't do that because that would be a loss on one card. Then I would turn that down. Or I'd come back and I'd say $1.19 because at least I make 20 cents then on that card.
Which, we just had a conversation about those volume discounts and I wasn't doing that on my singles. That changes my mindset on it. If I'm going to offer a discount quantity on everything and everything is eligible to be, bound together, then I might go back and put more best offer eligible on those. Side note, 84 cents until next week when it'll be more.
Yes, I know. I know. I've been going through that for years and years and years. That's just
Yeah.
an effect of, inflation essentially.
Now,
But yeah,
on
going
that
back
note,
to it,
I have a roll of Forever stamps, and now I'm
right.
like, oh, should I take advantage of those Forever stamps for a while?
You certainly could. I don't know that you'd want to use it on your card sales because you wouldn't get the tracking, which
Exactly. That's the
I think
drawback.
is worth the 3 cent increase. But oh, I don't want that. I was trying to pull. But in my example of 12 cards at $1 a piece, that's a $12 sale for me, and my cost into that, just card cost, right? Not shipping and envelope or whatever. That's let's say 15 cents a piece is what, $2, $2.50, something like that, maybe. Um, that's a pretty solid return on a bunch of cards that don't really have like hobby value, and it's also a great way to just get rid of a bunch of inventory at one time. So,
Yeah.
and it's a good deal for my customer. He's
Yeah.
not going to get them for $1 from anybody else. So,
Yeah.
it's that win-win-win-win combo that I adore. So a lot of times it's funny because when I'll get a certain offer in and I'll say, I don't want to reply to that yet. I'm going to sit and wait and see if they make an
Yep.
offer on another card, and then I'll
Patience
reply
is a
to that.
virtue.
Yeah, because it could give me an opportunity to make a second sale.
Right.
And buyers know that trick too. They'll say, well, I need these 2 cards. Okay, I bet I could get them for less, just like we do at the card show, right?
Yep.
Well, I'm going to get a stack. Okay, I found a couple things in this dime box. I got to keep going and get a stack so I can get, the discount price.
Yep.
Buyers will do that with eBay too. So, and then, an hour goes by and that's the only card I got an offer on and it's $1. And I say, nope, can't do that. I'm not going to sell it at a loss on an individual card. So
I
you have some different opportunities with that.
I mean, if it's close, if it's a quarter off or something like that, I'll almost always just accept it right away. But at the same time,
Yeah.
I always try to have at least some intel on what's the lowest this buyer could get this for off of eBay right now, especially on higher price stuff. If I've got it listed out there for 13 and there is absolutely nothing out there for less than $7 and they're offering me 3, there's no way in heck I'm going to take that.
Yeah,
Right?
I wouldn't even have to do any research on that. There's no way I would take 3. If I priced it at 17, that means that I feel like I can get 17. That's another reason why I price at the top sale price, because it gives me that margin to let it go a little bit cheaper. Or I hit the jackpot and somebody just says, "Yep, I'll pay you 17," and they buy it because they don't want to deal with the hassle or the haggle. So I believe it gives you the best opportunity to not just get a sale, but max the price on that sale.
That's also the difference in experience levels between us too. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have more of that catalog of pricing in your head
Right.
to feel a little more confident about it, whereas I'm still kind of building that knowledge up. So I'm still
Yeah.
much more inclined to go back and double check, like, did I price that right? Am I unreasonable in my price?
Right. Yeah, and it's funny because I know Bo's addressed this a few times too, and I feel the exact same way he does. People will say, "Well, if you've had cards in your store that have sat there for 2 years, do you change the price on them?" No, I'm not gonna. There's no way I'm gonna keep track of all that.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, just because it's not necessarily the price is the reason that it didn't sell, just didn't find the buyer yet, especially on low-end cards. And then the other side of that question is, well, that player's getting hot. Are you going to go raise the price? No, because now I'll probably get my sale at my asking price.
Yeah.
Which is the higher end of the current prices.
You'll catch it
So
as
I
it goes
feel like
by.
it's appropriate. Yeah, it's not like it's going to go from $20 to $100 and I sell at 20. It's gonna, something's gonna happen before it gets to that stage.
Right. Right.
Yeah, so it's no, like some of my Otani rookies, when I bought them at the beginning of the season, they started going up 20, 30, 40% at a time. Well, that was all stuff that I had just done. I can go back and change those specific cards. So you can, if you get if I had listed Ellie De La Cruz cards 2 years ago, and he comes in now and is doing this, yeah, I'd probably go back and look for that specific player. But like just generic listings and cards and stuff, no. I'll just leave them there. And if they don't sell, I'll end listings, I'll relist. That gets a new spike in sales of some older inventory. So there's other ways to approach that without like constantly adjusting your prices, which is more difficult to do. You have to adjust the price on each individual listing.
Yeah.
Versus changing something in bulk, or it's just a small part of your inventory, like a single player or a single type of card or something like that, or that would make more sense. But then, so how do you handle offers? Let's get in. We didn't get into your side at all yet. So you take offers, correct, on everything?
Yeah, I take offers on the majority. Like I said, everything but the break
low end.
even, low end, really low end stuff. So like I said, if it's a relatively low discount they're asking for, I usually don't give it much thought. Yeah, I'll move that. Quarter doesn't really hurt me too much on something I'm selling for $5, right? Now, the lower my asking price is, the more I kind of scrutinize it, because now I'm starting to say, at what point am I going to take a loss?
Right.
I know typically we're like, I don't ever want to sell a card at a loss. We've also talked before that I'm building a store up. So sometimes I do want to consider turning volume to get the feedback and stuff like that. So I might take a small loss here and there if it's something I think has other value in other areas, right?
Plus, it can provide you some capital to maybe buy a better card you could sell for higher.
Right. Or I've been sitting on it in a while, and I'm like, you know what? There just isn't much interest. I need to cut my bait and go. To your point, take what I can get on this and move on to the next sale. So there are some. I think probably 80% of the time or better, I will counter with something at least once. Very rarely do I end up going back and forth. I don't know if I've ever used the full allocation of counter offers that you get. I think it's like 5 or something like that. I don't know that I've ever gotten there. Either we get to a sale, or someone stops replying, or I just decline and stop sending counter offers. So that's kind of where I'm at.
In my head, I kind of look at percent off when I'm looking at offers, right? So I price my stuff at basically, I try to. I don't comp everything. I think that's a huge waste of time on smaller stuff, but I try to price like top, where the top of the market is. So let's say the top of the market for this card is $8 and somebody comes in at 6.5. That's 20% off. I'll take it. Or no, that's like 15% off. Anyway, I kind of have like, this is the lowest I would take for that card in my head, and then I play off of that.
Yeah.
So if they come back at $3, come in at $3, no, I'm not going to sell it for $3. That's 75% off or something crazy like that. So I try to just kind of keep it at percentages, and eventually if they bow out and they're like, nope, max I will pay is $3. Okay, well, this isn't going to happen today then. Sometimes I look at quantity too that I have. This isn't something you face a lot yet, but I might have a base Brady card that I have 15 copies of that I'm asking $3 for. If they offer $2, I mean, yeah, that's a pretty good discount off my $3, but I can move one of those cards, and I know I didn't pay $2 for it, so I still have profit. It's just not as big a profit. So it's very situational that way.
But then when you get to the last few, you hold off, right?
Correct. Yeah. If it's hot and it's spiking and things are selling, yeah, I might even raise the price on it.
Right.
I've done that a lot of times too. So now, what about sending offers? Do you do that a lot?
I do, and it's kind of a similar philosophy. I don't, if I'm selling a card for $1.25, very low end, I'm probably not going to send any offers, because then I'm essentially saying, here, take my extra dime,
Right.
Yeah. But anything above that, what what I do a lot is that in the evening, I'll look and see what I have for offer eligible and send it, and then see what I got in the morning in responses,
Yep.
and kind of take it from there. I do feel like a lot of buyers do accept offers, so I think it is important to do that.
Yep. Yep.
So I
Yeah, I
like
get
it.
result. I send one on pretty much everything that I get. Um, Anytime you get some sort of personal reaction from a customer on an item in your store, you should try to get a sale out of it.
Hmm.
Uh, and to your point, anything that's $1.29 and like I'm not gonna make anything off of this then. Yeah. Even if you took a lot, let's say you came back and sent them an offer for $1.19. Obviously, it depends on what your pay, what it cost you for the card.
Yep.
That's the big key in that one. But if the card costs you 5 cents, 10 cents, or something like that, even if you're going to make a very minimal profit or even like a 2 cent loss, it might be worth you making the sale just to get that customer.
Yeah.
That customer will come back and buy something later on, or they'll give you positive feedback for accepting their offer.
Yeah.
A lot of times, a lot of my feedback will say, "Hey, got a great deal. Thanks for accepting my offer."
Yeah.
Um, Customers remember that kind of stuff.
Or how long you've been sitting on that $1.25 card. Well, if you've been sitting on
Right,
it for 6 months and you haven't found a taker at $1.25, there is not hobby in that card, right?
right, right,
So send them an offer for $1 and see if you can at least move it so you can get something else out there, right?
right. Yeah, it's that capital portion, or yeah, even if all you're doing is getting your cost of the card back
Yeah.
and you're breaking even, that's okay. You can put that into another card that maybe you could sell easier.
Yeah.
I,
So
I
even
wouldn't
on
want
those
to do
low
that like
ends,
all day long, but
yeah. So even on those low ends, I will take into account how long I've had it. If it's something I listed back in March when I started, I got a bunch of 2012 Superstar Celebration insert series. I think they're kind of cool, but I have not been able to sell any of them so far at
mhm.
what I've listed at. If I
Maybe
get
you
one
should
of
promote
those,
them.
huh?
Maybe
Promote
you should
them, yeah,
promote them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, so let me ask you this: uh, Can we confirm what triggers offer eligible?
Yes. First, I want to say hi to Tom. Thanks for joining us real quick.
TB.
I spoke to Tom earlier today, so I'm glad to see you in the video here. And he also agrees offers is the way. So he threw a little Star Wars sort of sideways reference into that too. This is the way. Offers the way.
Mandalorian.
Um, we agree. We like offers. Uh, from what I understand, as far as like the offer eligible, it's somebody who had a page view
Hmm.
of that
That's what I
item.
thought.
So if someone looks at, or they're obviously if they're watching that
A
item, that's
watcher.
also part of it. So let's say they, I'm looking for a 94 base card of Marshall. Well, Marshall Falk's a bad example. He would have been a rookie, but anyway, of Dan Marino, right?
Hmm.
And they click on your card and they're like, man, I'm not going to buy this right now, and they bounce out. That throws into your offer eligible.
Okay.
So the way I understand like laws for online selling, now I'm no lawyer, so don't anybody quote me and don't call your own attorney and don't write your congressman, but um, from the way I understand it, you can't solicit the sale unless somebody has engaged you first.
Okay. So by
So by
clicking
them,
on the listing and viewing it, that shows
they've
interest.
allowed you to approach them and make them an offer. So that's why it's not like every customer who's ever bought from you, you can just send them an offer on everything. Like that would be, first of all, that would be super obnoxious and people would hate eBay instantly. But also, I believe that that's not within the allowance of
Right.
soliciting for a sale. So, and maybe that's kind of fine line type stuff or gray area type stuff. But I think eBay's like, we just don't want to deal with that. We know if they clicked on the page, you can engage them back and say, hey, I saw you looked at this. I'll give it to you for $1.50 instead of $1.75. They know that that's acceptable, that that's allowable. And obviously there's history of page views, so they could easily say, yeah, this guy looked at this item. That's how he was offered something. So that's where I believe that comes from. I'm sure you could really, dig into eBay, and I'm sure there's some sort of answer for that, but yeah, I'm not.
I know there's an explanation. I've looked at it. It's been a while, but I think you're right. I think
Yeah,
it's someone that has done a page view.
I'm usually right, Charlie. So, I mean, the goat
This
knows.
is the way.
Right, this is the way. So yeah, that I think we're kind of in agreement on how we do offers. I maybe opened your mind a little bit to entertaining some more offers.
Yeah.
Putting some offer options out there for somebody who's going to try to buy multiple items. And yeah, I found that a really good way to sell a chunk of stuff too at a time. And that's why I do the auctions. People say, well, what if this one card sells for 99 cents and you don't sell anything else? Yeah, I take a few pennies loss on that deal. But I got a customer. That's probably a customer who hasn't shopped in my store because they're buying on random auctions.
Right.
It's an opportunity for me to send my business card, to package their card really well in a top loader, even though I only paid 99 cents for it. And they might be back. I have regulars who don't buy from my store and only buy on my auctions. So, maybe now you gained a customer you wouldn't have had because you're using another avenue to try to get a sale.
Mm-hmm.
Gives them probably a better deal because they're going to get it at the 99 cents, and then they'll buy more cards. And my results have been, the way I do auctions anyway, is people will buy 10 of these, different base Favre cards I got like 10 cents each into or less. And I can make a $10 sale out of that.
Yeah.
So it gets some more eyes in your store because, like I said, people see auctions. They're, there's a time frame to them. Like they're going to show up on the top of the page at some point because it's got to end. And so that's kind of how I feel about those low end offers too. Like, hey, maybe you do take a loss on that one card you sold, but the other 10 that you sold is all profit or mostly profit, whatever. So, all right. So let's put that topic back in the can and we'll move on to the next one here. So we're at an hour 52. So we're killing it tonight. Next one is our pre-sort strategies and listing priorities. I think we kind of covered
that. Yeah.
We sort of threw that in with time changes and yeah. I don't really have anything to add to that, I don't think.
Yeah, I think we're good there.
Yeah, I think it's really case by case, and it's kind of how you want to do it and what position your store is at. And
exactly.
I don't do a ton of baseball, so for me, when it comes up to baseball season, I'm still listing my Derek Jeters and my Kirby Pucketts and my Mark McGuires and my Otanis, which, let's face it, at this point, he's legend.
Right.
I kind of stick to my guys that I know. Hockey season, I list my Gretzky's, I list my Lemieux, I do that kind of stuff. I don't really.
That might be something I have to look for in Milwaukee. I don't have any hockey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our Bucks cards, stuff like that. Yeah, I think you have to decide where you're at in the market, and are you just trying to sell hype players? Are you only buying like, okay, these are the prospects going into the season that are totally hyped, I got to buy these now and sell them now before, that hype die. I don't know. I think that's an individualized one. So I kind of like MD Sports said earlier, list them if you got them, just keep going, list them. You get bored listing this stuff. No one likes to list. It's not like the super fun part. But it's like brushing your teeth in the morning, right? You just do it you just have to do it every day.
Yeah, and I think I have to reassess sometimes too. Like if I have 3,000 cards sitting on the table, let me just grab some random cards here. Do I really need to list this? What is this? 2012 Dustin Pedroia? Is there a lot of hobby in that? Maybe
I
that
just sold
needs
a
to go
Dustin
in my
Pedroia Topps Chrome Gold.
Yeah.
There's hobby in that.
Yeah, and this is just base heritage, right? Do
Yep.
I? Well, maybe I'd list this Kirk Gibson manager card just because I think it's kind of cool. But what was it? What did we call him? The Panda, the Big Panda or something? Pablo Sandoval?
Yeah, Pablo.
I probably can put that right into a 50-cent box,
Yeah.
Something
And that's
like
what
that.
I do. I have my box. I have one box open that has some space in it, and that's my quarter box, 10-cent box, whatever I decide to do. And I just throw those cards in that when I get
Now,
them.
87 Dave Winfield, I'm probably going to list that.
Yeah, anything older than like 1990, I just list.
Red parallel, any parallel,
Yep.
I'm probably going to list.
Yep.
It's a pitcher. It's not going to be a lot, but it's something different, right?
So what I do for my show boxes, and I think I've talked to you about this before, I have quarter boxes, and I let them run for a couple of shows and get dug out and bought out.
Yep.
And then I drop them to a dime box, and I'll do that for a couple of shows and let a bunch of dimes fall out. And I've added more cards, so then I go back to a quarter, and and that's kind of what I do with that stuff. There's no, you'd have to list it so cheap you wouldn't get anything out of it, wouldn't make any money.
Borderline guy, King Felix. He had a lot of hype when he came out. He was a dominant pitcher. He's a Seattle legend. I'm kind of on the fence on that. Is that worth listing or not?
Yep.
So you kind of got to start going through a guy like Adam Jones. He was a stalwart on my fantasy baseball teams, right? Yep. I love him, but I don't know that there's a lot of hobby on him, right?
You might be surprised on who has hobby though too. I saw a lot of commons.
Yeah.
Sometimes more than like my Favre base cards. You got 60,000 listings. List shit.
Yeah.
The stuff doesn't sell, dump it later, if you need more spots to list stuff. But right now you have so much space to list, you could really list anything.
Big League Hollow, I'm going to list that,
Any Big League Hollow list. Yeah, you're going to sell commons of that even.
Yep.
Tom has a question about promotions, which we did cover a little bit earlier. He says, if you promote, what percent? I do 2% promoted, since seems like if I do any promoted at all, they are going to find a way to say it's sold through promotion to get that extra percent. It's going down to 0.5 or 1% too low. Okay, so now I've only been doing promotions for like a day and a half, so I'm by no means an expert. But this is what I've observed, and this is somebody who has had a store for quite a while. I have a regular customer base and so on. I can honestly tell you that they do not just whack you for the promotion fee if it wasn't clicked on through promotion. Okay. About half of my sales today were promoted sales, and the other half were just what they call organic. So it was my customers coming to my store, finding cards in my store, customers just finding the cards themselves, not clicking the promoted link to get there. So it definitely doesn't charge you the fee on every single card. Percentage wise, what I've done was I just agreed to the dynamic listing, which is essentially eBay making its suggested promotion percentage based on like where ranks are or where other people are putting their promotion price at. And I just decided to do that, keep it simple, let it ride, and I'll have to evaluate that as I have some data from my sales. So, as I explained, one thing I explained earlier to Charlie is you'll actually get free promotion on an item if you have multiples of that item and you get sales in it. eBay algorithm smells the sale and the sale history, whatever you want to call it, and it will promote it on its own, and you do not have to pay them a fee. So the card that I had sold a couple of this past week was the Brett Favre Strongbox card, which I had bought like 50 copies of at one time because I didn't see them real often, and I got them really cheap and stuff. And I'm like, I can probably get like $5 a piece out of those. And I had sold a few. I didn't put any promotions on that item at all, and then I sold a couple more in the last day or two. Okay. And I went through my promoted, like you can go through your analytics and stuff on eBay and look at your promoted, and it showed that it was being promoted even though I hadn't set up any type of promotion. It was just an internal promotion on that item. So I found that really interesting. Um, yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, eBay's the whole gig here is to make as much as they can on the deal as well,
Fee-Bay.
which is why they're offering. Yeah, eBay. That's why they're offering the promoted option. But I can tell you that I've gotten some really good results just from a day and a half. It's nearly 2.5 times what I would normally sell. So for those couple of bucks I have to pay on the back end for all those sales, um, it was a no brainer. And I sold some pretty good priced cards, like higher priced cards too, that without promoting kind of sit because they don't have there isn't the attention on it that my lower end stuff gets. I have lower end buyers generally as my customer base, so it allowed me to try to like go for some customers that I maybe wouldn't normally buy from my store.
We also talked about earlier that you felt like a lot of your promoted cards got the listed price. Like there
Mm-hmm.
weren't a lot of offers. They just paid the list price. And I think
Yep.
there's some rationale to that because if I think about the difference in a non promoted and a promoted listing, non promoted is in your store. Someone's likely looking for that card, right? They're doing a search for a certain person. When you
Yep.
get a promoted card, you're going to get thrown out there more on Google and things like that as just suggestions without someone actually searching for that, I think. And the difference to me is you're probably going to get more hobby savvy people on non-promoted stuff. You're going to get random people that are like, oh, that's cool. I'd like to have that, that
Yep.
aren't necessarily in the hobby studying price trends and things like that. They're just going to say, that's really cool. I remember seeing that guy when I was a kid. Boom,
Yep.
mine.
See, now my page view rate has gone up like 38% today, just today.
Mm-hmm.
So it's legit. Like it truly bumps you up. Now I'm gonna share my screen real quick if that's okay, Charlie.
I guess I'll allow it.
Okay, good, because you actually don't have a choice, but I was just trying to be polite. Um, okay, so if I can show you this here. These are my sales from today, and you can see if it was a promoted sale or not. So if you look at this first one, I've got these 4 Derek Jeters I sold, right? You can see there's no promoted sale comment on here, right? Then if you come down to the second one here, um, you'll see where it says, sold via promoted listing. Okay. Go down to the next one, sold via promoted, sold via promoted. Some of these are full price, which is nice. This one was not sold via promoted. This was a regular customer of mine who came in and bought a couple of cards, so they didn't charge me the promoted. Click on there. Here's another one, no promoted sale. Here's one where I sent an offer and it was from a promoted click. Here's one that wasn't. So it's not like everything just goes to hold on here. Let me get this back out of here. There we go. So it's not like everything just instantly goes to promoted. If you have a good customer base, those customers can come in and buy those cards and you don't have to get dinged for them to purchase from you. Hopefully that helps. Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take another look. I've used promotions sparingly. When I first started selling, I have a friend who sells other collectibles. It doesn't dabble in the sports card market. In fact, she's given me a couple binders to see if I can move for her because she's not into it. But one of the first things she told me is watch out for the suggested promotions by eBay. You don't have to do what they suggest.
Right.
So that was something I always kind of, just based on that, I always back down the percentages on whatever eBay suggested. And I'm almost always under 10%. I said earlier, I think my sweet spot has often been about 9%.
Yeah, and I think again, you just have to sort of figure out what works for you. I like the reason I like the dynamic is because I don't like maintenance. When I list a card, I want to just leave it there. I don't
Yep.
want to I want to waste time on that. That's time I could list another card, spend packing, hell, spend time with my family.
Yeah.
Other priorities that are bigger than cards. There's very few, but there's some. I like the dynamic because it's just automatically going to throw it at a percentage based on what is the best market for you to get eyes on your page, right? I don't know how else to put it, but so if it means you'll have to look at the real numbers of it too. Okay, so let's say you've got a $2 card and you want to charge 2% for your promotion, right? That's 4 cents, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you go down to 1%. Now you're paying 2 cents. Like, is that enough difference in there for you to? Well, actually, it would be, yeah, because it's $2. Yeah, 2% would be 4 cents, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
2 cents on the dollar. Yeah.
So you'd go from 4 cents to 2 cents for that cheaper promotion. Well, does 2 cents do enough for you where maybe you're putting a risk that you're not going to get the eyes on it to save the 2 cents? Like, I feel like if you're going to promote it, right? Don't try to get like a discounted promotion. Like, I think eBay smells that out pretty quick and it's not going to put you anywhere. What?
I think I'm going to reassess some of mine and maybe try that dynamic promotion a little bit more.
Yeah, and I want it to just adjust it for me. I don't want to sit there and have to screw with it all the time. Now, like I said, I had sold a card where the dynamic rate was pretty high. So I might, go look at some of those, and see. But now, even with that and that promoted rate, it was a card that had sat around for a while. I still made a profit on it, and it sold. So is it worth putting a little bit towards eBay to be able to do that? I don't know, kind of.
I gotta think that
time has value too, right?
Well, and I also gotta think that inherently it's in eBay's best interest to boost you in the algorithm if they're getting more fees off of you.
Exactly. That's my point. So to do like a discounted promotion, I don't know. I don't know that that's really going to really do anything for you. Yeah, that's a tough one, but that's why they have all those ranges. You choose what you think is going to work best for you. Maybe you have an item that gets viewed a lot, or there's not a lot of listings out there, so you don't really need to promote it. You could do it listing by listing. I'm not going to do that with 28,000 listings. I'm promoting or I'm not promoting, and then I'm going to leave it at that.
Tom's got an interesting comment about history or facts in the description. The one before that, Adam. Yeah. So I find that interesting because I did the exact same thing on my early listings. In the description, I would put like 3-time league MVP, 5-time World Series winner, blah, blah, blah. And I think 3 months later, it did nothing for me.
Yeah. So I'm going to say this one more time, and I've said it quite a few times. No one cares about the description field. No one, not a single person, unless in your title or your photo, shows something or whatever. You say, hey, read my description on this one. And in your description, it says crease on the top left, blah, blah, blah. Unless there's some specific information for that card you're selling. And that's not going to get you any more views, right? So let's say I just listed that Bryce Harper rookie card, World Series MVP, right? If I put that in the title, like everyone knows he was a World Series MVP. There was also multiple World Series MVPs. Yeah. So it doesn't really, help him stand out per se.
And is anybody going out there saying, find me World Series MVP cards?
Right. Well, even if they are, now that's something that's different. Now that's something you could put in, like, if you go into that one field that says like card name field or card specifics field. I can't remember what it's called exactly, but that's something where you could put like World Series MVP, because there would be like a search term, right? So if somebody just typed in World Series
Yeah.
MVP card in eBay, then
If
that
it's a
card might go up.
variation or a subset or something, and
Right, right.
let me find one here. Something like, well, I'll show this one again. Like this one says season highlights on it. I may put season highlights as card name on that.
Yep.
I'm more likely to do it if it's an MVP or Super Bowl or something like that.
But I still wouldn't put it in the description. I'd put it in the title.
Agreed.
No one cares about descriptions. I literally just copy my title and paste it in my description.
Yep.
I leave it at that. Unless, like I said, there's something weird, if I'm selling a vintage and it's miscut or it's got a stain on the back, well, then I might throw that in the description. But
yeah, another one. This is an In It to Win It. I can't get the angle right. In It to Win It. I might put that as a card name. In It to Win It. But it's going to be in my title, and then it's going to be maybe in my card name. But that's about all I'll do in the descriptions anymore. For the most part, I'm using the AI, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah, I'm actually bringing that up right now. So
yeah, or I will just copy the title into the description. I've stopped doing any of the additional details at all unless it's a reprint card. I may call that out in the original or reprint because I want to be clear. But I only focus on the primary descriptions of card number, card name, manufacturer, and set.
Same. Yeah, just the key things is really all you got to have on there.
I know I do some quality rankings that you don't do. I'm still kind of assessing that. So far, I'm doing it. I listed some pretty rough cards today, and I'm like, oh, is this poor? Is this, what is it? Very good. I know you don't worry about any of that, right?
No, and I'll tell you a couple reasons why I don't, right? Oops, I'm screen sharing here. Hold on a second. Let me just take that out. So it kind of goes back to my my working in finance days, right? Like people ask me tax questions all the time. I'm not dumb enough to answer someone's tax questions because I'm not qualified for that. That's not what I do. Everybody's tax situation is unique. So how can I even speak to that unless I know what their tax situation is? And I just stay out of that. We've even discussed that on here about this stuff. Don't talk about the tax. So condition is subjective. Okay. This might be mint to me, and you might be like, well, there's a little bit of white fuzz in that top left corner. That's near mint. So I don't want to make a statement about what I think the quality of that card is. I would rather have the buyer assess that themselves. Another reason why I do photos, because eye appeal is the number one thing that matters in cards. It's a piece of art. They look at that photo. Now, once in a while I'll get a message and they'll say, hey, good, nice photos on this card or whatever. Could you take a picture of that top left corner for me? Sure, I'll do that. Here, you evaluate this and tell me what condition it is. The other thing is I don't think anybody searches by condition for the most part. So they're not going to type in like Pete Rose rookie near mint. Right? So why bother even putting any of that in there? Like if it's not going to help increase your odds of getting a sale.
I will say in vintage
card name field. You're right. That's exactly what I was trying to think of.
Yep. Yep. In vintage cards, sometimes I will select near mint in my filters just because I want to see the better shaped cards.
Sure. But if the card you're listing is not near mint, then I don't know. Again, not a right or wrong. It's your thing. I'm not a grader. I don't put in there, hey, it looks to be a PSA 9. Like I'm not doing any of that. You're building a specific expectation for that buyer that could potentially disappoint them.
Yeah.
They might be buying something that they don't want.
That said, near mint or better, I've read and heard that that's like a PSA 8 or better, and that's not that difficult to get.
No. No, I do not put. I might have grades in a few of my listings because I was doing some of that early on too, like near mint, whatever mint. I don't do any of that anymore. No,
Okay.
it's never burned me not doing it, so I just leave it at that. I take a individual
You,
photo of every single vintage card. I might have 30 copies of the same card and I have 30 listings, and they get plucked away and people can choose
yeah.
the best one that I got and that's what I'll send them. I'll change the price maybe based on my view of what the condition is on it, but I don't state that. I just take good quality photos as best I can. And
Can't argue with your logic, man. You sell plenty of cards, and if you don't
yeah,
have that on any of them, it's not limiting you.
right, right. And I sell a ton of vintage
Yeah.
commons and stuff like that. And so it doesn't, and I've never gotten a bad feedback of guy said it was near mint and it's like excellent. Well, what's the difference between excellent and near mint? What defines that? Right?
Yeah.
I don't like it. So I just stay away from it. Let's see. I've also listed cards so far that only have a few listed, so not tons of competition. Y'all help tons just taking it out, rethinking strategy and reforming opinions. So appreciate yes. We appreciate you, Tom. And that's kind of the whole point here is one of the reasons we started this show was Charlie's new and I'm old. So we wanted to go, okay, well, what does old have to share? There's always knowledge in experience. And there's always new ideas that can come in, and some of the best ones come in from somebody who hasn't been there before because they're trying to experience it and they're building their own things change over time. They're going, well, this is the best way to do it now. And I go, oh crap, I've been doing it the other way for 10 years. I totally forgot about, this change to that or whatever. So that's exactly how we feel. It's good to have these discussions, and
Absolutely.
we're a positive group. We want to look at ways to make the experience better for everybody, our customers, fellow sellers, us buying, us trying to make some profit, us giving working with eBay and working within their platform and how to make that best work for everyone.
Except when we talk Cubs, then we're not positive because they suck.
Anyway, let's see. I mean, I can't argue with you, I guess, but I mean, they had a streak. They had a streak. Okay.
All right.
Um, MD agrees with me. He says the only time I will waste time in a description is if it's a condition issue, and that's exactly the way I
Yeah.
do it too.
Yeah.
Because there's really no other reason.
That's
Name card field.
that's a really good example too. Like that's what I ran into today. I'm listing these old Superman 2 cards, which are not in
Mhm.
great shape. You can already see the
Yep.
creases here, the edges.
Yep.
Like, I want to be clear when I list that you are not getting something you're going to send in and get a high grade on.
But
Right?
but you're putting a photo of that card itself, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as long as you're doing that, you're covered.
Yeah.
Actually, that helps me too when I go to pull the cards. Because let's say I do have 20 copies of a card, a vintage card. I go in and I look for in my photo, I look for like the defining things like, oh, there's a little speck print line over here, or there's a little
Mhm.
wax stain down here in the left corner. And I'll dig through all the copies and I'll be like, yep, that's the one that this person bought.
Isn't it
So it
funny that
really helps
sometimes
me
you
keep
don't
track of what's in and out too.
isn't it funny how sometimes when you snap the picture you don't notice it, but once
Right.
you get it listed, you're like, "Wait
Right.
a minute, what is that?"
Yeah, it's got well because then I have to notice it because now that
Yeah.
it's sold, I have to make sure I send that right card, that
Yeah.
correct card. Because that's part of my guarantee and what I do in my business is if you're buying that vintage card, you're getting the one that is in that photo.
Yep.
So it just doesn't make sense to do it with ultra modern when they're all basically the same
The same.
condition.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, let's say I have two copies of this card and one is like the off centering is way to the top or that would be different. Then I would list them separately. I have to do that with Sports Illustrated for Kids a lot of times
Sure.
because they're printed different on that sheet of stapled in cardboard or whatever. So I might have one that has a bigger left side or right side. They essentially can have the same issues as a vintage card, right? So those I will then list, or there's some paper torn on it because whoever tore it out of the magazine, tore it a little bit, whatever.
Right.
Um, but yeah, if you've got 20 copies of this card and they look just like out of the pack and have been taken care of, I don't see why you would need to list 20 separate ones. You want to be careful too. You do only get so many listings. I do plan
Yeah.
to max mine out at some point. So Tom says he's going to watch from the beginning. I love that. I think that's a great idea. We support that 100%. And yeah, provide feedback. You can still leave comments and stuff even after this video is posted. It doesn't have to be live chat, and I do read all the comments. So if you have any questions, you can message me too. But if you have any questions, you can leave those on there as well. Tom wants to thank MD for saying that he's just getting going. So learning what's worth the time and isn't is super helpful. So I'll take as much data as I can from your experienced sellers. Yeah, I think that's the key, is to try to not make the same mistakes as some of us old timers, had. Come up with some new ideas and and share those so that the old timers have a chance to learn and improve their experience and their what they do. Yeah.
You know what's interesting, Adam? We shared this a couple weeks ago. We were talking about this, and I pulled the data again yesterday or this morning. Sometimes when I pull my performance stats, I do the download, and then it'll tell you your seller rank for that
Correct.
category out of everybody.
Yep.
There are not as many of us as you might think.
Nope.
It was a
It's
much
absolutely
smaller
true.
number than I would have guessed.
Well, and it shrinks every day because, like I said, this is a grind. It's work. You have to put capital into it. You got to have somewhere to put the cards. You got to ship them. You got to list them. So I think a lot of maybe people who want to get into it decide that it's just not for them, or they don't have the time for it, or they make 20 cents on a card and it just doesn't feel like enough. Even if you start to build, and it's a slow growth. Like, you don't go from 0 listings in a store to 60,000 listings. Even with a scanner, it's going to take you some
Right.
time to build that up and manage that. Get a customer base so you're not paying a promotion fee on every sale you get. Where it's your own business and your own brand actually getting sales for you. About almost half the sales I had today were from repeat buyers. So you can build an actual business on eBay. I've heard tons of times where people say, well, yeah, but that's just it's just a one-off. You just get this person who's looking for that card, and that's not true at all. I have people who regularly come back and buy cards from my store, pay full price for the card, or they like the bargain part, and they'll make offers on a bunch of cards, and I'll take them, and they get their deal and I get my deal. Whatever the case may be, all kinds of customers are welcome. But it's not true that it's a one-off. Well, they're going to the platform, they're not going to you as the business. That was probably true in like 1997, not so true in 2023. People see online retailers as legit businesses.
Yeah, I think that's true.
And if you provided them good service, you ship their cards nice, you give them as best a pricing as you can. You have a name for yourself, you build a brand, you have a YouTube channel, you share your business cards, you do as much as you can to support that. They're going to come back to you on their own. So I believe business cards are extremely important. We haven't really gone over this as a topic, like marketing and things like that. I value these a lot, and they're not like ultra cheap. I pay more for these than I do an envelope, the envelope that it ships in. But the scale of that marketing and even just for the YouTube channel, because my YouTube channel is on there too, I think is invaluable. You're actually reaching the people who are actually doing business with you, where for the most part you don't get to do that because they're buying it on a platform. You don't talk to them, other than some messages or whatever. But it's the one way to connect them directly to you, not eBay to you, right? So that's my opinion on that, on that part of adding an expense for the cards. And if you buy enough at a time, I buy like 5,000 or 10,000 or something like that. So they cost me a little under 2 cents a piece, I think, or a little over 2 cents a piece. It's good for card shows, hand them out at card shows. It's a great way to build your brand. You can put your direct store link on here. So like I have my, oh, that's my YouTube. So I have my direct store link down here. I don't know if you can read that. And then I also have, you can scan the QR code and go directly to my store too. So now, here's another thing that I'll point out why this is a good deal. So you're paying eBay to promote you, and when they sell, when you sell that item, you have to pay them that promotional, right? If they scan this, go directly to your store and buy, no promotional link. So you don't pay eBay any. So you paid 2 cents for this card, but it saves you from paying any promoted expenses to eBay when you make that sale, if you're using promotions to help you sell. Which at this point, I'm like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. I'm in now. It's just worth it to do it. If you want to try to sell bulk, sell at a bigger scale, it's something you have to do. So MD says concentration should be title number 1, pictures number 2. Need to pop on search for
Absolutely.
a buyer to find you. And 100% agree. Your title is extremely important. You can put some extra things in there if you want, but Charlie pretty much hit the nail on the head as far as you need the player name, you need the set, you need the year, you need whatever is the special conditions, like the insert name or the pink parallel or whatever, the card number. You could maybe put team name on there. I usually only do that if it fits or if it matters.
Yeah,
Like
that's what I do.
if I'm listing Jeter stuff, yeah, you throw Yankees on it. I mean, Yankees has, there's millions of people who are just searching Yankees cards every day. Card players where they switch teams. So like a lot of times when I list Deion Sanders stuff, I'll put Deion Sanders Cowboys, Deion Sanders 49ers, because those are two huge fan markets that buy certain players from those teams. So if I can fit it on there, I might throw it on there. You're selling a Michael Jordan card. Do you really need to put Bulls on there? I mean, I guess he played for the Wizards too, but nobody buys Wizards cards, so I don't think
does that really count?
Doesn't really count. So again, case by case and what you can fit on there. Now that being said, if you want to put Bulls on there, that's what, 5 letters. You can probably fit that in the title of just about every card you would ever list for Michael Jordan.
What I don't think adds value and actually annoys me when people put every team a player ever played for.
Yeah, it's just overkill. And the last thing you really want to do is annoy your customers. I try to keep it simple. I want to get eyes on it, but I'm not going to put, looks like a PSA 7 and not a rookie and not an auto, on a base card and, non-refractor. I don't want to put the tricky clicky baity stuff in. Tricky clicky baity stuff in.
Nice. You need a t-shirt for that.
Did that. I did all that myself. Poet didn't know it. Yeah, so I think you just want to stick to exactly what that card offers. You want somebody who's actually going to be a customer. It doesn't do you any good to have somebody click on it that isn't interested in buying it. That's not going to get you a sale. Now maybe you got that click impression and now you're going to send them an offer and they're like, I don't want that card. Like now you're just wasting some of your own time. You're wasting potentially some of that customer's time. Yeah.
You might turn them off to eBay altogether, and then they're going to be like, oh, I'm just going to start going to Whatnot because eBay is a bunch of garbage.
Yeah, and that's there's definitely people who do not like eBay, and that's fine too. So, but yeah, anything you can do to prevent that, and build your brand on other platforms too, if that works for you. I don't sell on Instagram. I don't do Facebook Marketplace. I don't really have any interest in using any of those. Did a little bit of stuff on ComC. But I've just found that eBay keeps me busy enough. And to try to keep track of multiple platforms and the way they ship, and I don't know. I think Whatnot's going to be huge once they come up with a standard envelope delivery. That's my take on that one. I'll be doing, especially if they don't have limits on how much you can do, whereas eBay limits you to how many auctions you can do. I'll probably do a lot of just trying to get rid of some bulk stuff on Whatnot. So Tom says, I will say once you start selling, it helps point out the lazy, careless sellers who don't care to help avoid them going forward. Yeah, it's like anything. People want a quick, easy buck, right? You You can't tell it by looking at me now, but a few years ago, I remember this, Charlie, when I lost like 120 pounds or something like that. You wouldn't believe how many people asked me like, "Hey, how'd you do it?" And I said, good diet and exercise." And then they're like, "Oh," they wanted to hear that I just took a magic pill, right? I took this pill and it all went away. It was great. I watched more football and all the weight went away. I mean, that's what people
That would be
actually want to hear.
awesome.
Yeah, as soon as you're like, "Oh, be a low end card seller," and then they're like, "Oh, great, I would love to do that. I would love to make 60 grand a year selling $1.50 cards," and I'm like, "Well, this is what it takes." Oh, so that's all there for you, and it's just like pretty much everything else on this planet. If you're willing to put in the time and the effort and the work and value it, you can do that. So, but I'm glad in a way too that it scares a lot of people away. It reduces the amount of competition you have.
True.
So, and there are plenty of people who list like 10 $1 cards on eBay, and that's it. That's their entire inventory that they're working with. Well, it's going to be hard for them to compete with any of us. So I feel like even if I have some competition, that I can get a leg up on that and keep my position. Now,
For sure.
here's a question for you guys. Have you ever heard of Greg Morris cards?
Negative.
I think it's the number 2 card seller on eBay, and they only do auctions. They auction every single card. They do a ton of set breaks. So they might buy like, a set of 2021 Donruss, right? Football. They do a lot more vintage than anything else. But let's just, for argument's sake, say that they buy that. They will literally just list every individual card and let it ride on auction. They get higher prices than pretty much anybody else's auctions. They have great photos. They might actually scan, but very high quality. It's the exact picture of the card that you get. They ship really fast. They do some combined shipping things. They don't do free shipping, but yeah, and Tom's heard of them. Yes, sir, they're huge. They have such a great relationship with eBay. When you're feeding through listings, they will literally on theirs have like the little logo and their name right on it with the top rated seller plus, because they have an anchor store, I believe. They're paying the big bucks to be on eBay.
Yeah.
But all these people who are telling you, "Oh, you can't sell cards, on auction, you'll never get enough money." That guy literally runs his entire business by just doing 99-cent auctions. So don't take you can't do it this way, as gold. You can do it that way. You have to figure out how to do it that way. Now, did he do that from day one? Was he Greg Morris Cards, the day he showed up on eBay? No. He's got 120,000 feedback, and like the guy's super legit. And I'm sure he got to a point where he's like, "Screw it, I can just auction all these. I can get quick flips. I'll get more money for him because I'm Greg Morris Cards." And it's worked for him. Main page is vintage, correct, yes, and also has a Greg Morris Cards 2 as well for more modern stuff. Okay, I don't know if I knew that. Maybe I knew that. I don't know. People trust their eye for condition, so when list as mint to near mint, people pay big for vintage. Correct. Vintage by far more than modern. The price goes up as the condition is better. So absolutely. And because he's doing a lot of set breaks, he's buying like collections from people. He's got some older cards that are in really nice condition, but he's doing the exact opposite of what everybody's telling you to do to be successful selling these cards. He's not grading them. He's not putting them, best offer. He's not doing them in a store inventory pricing. He's doing them on auction. He's doing the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do to be successful. And he's the number 2 card seller on eBay. So I'm not one who likes to, I like statistics. I like, this works, I'm going to do it. Don't change it if it ain't broke. But I also like to take the avenue of, hey, maybe I can do something different than somebody else, and that will give me that leg up.
There you go.
So that's sort of my soapbox speech for tonight. Now, last topic, since we're 2.5 into this now. AI. So you said you had experienced it a few days ago, right?
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I hadn't really noticed it till Monday, like I said earlier, because of the busy weekend. But I listed a card with AI today, and I kind of wanted to share it and get some feedback and see if you'd used it at all. So let me just throw on my screen here. So this is what we're looking at here. So it's this Bryce Harper rookie card. Unfortunately, it's got a little tiny, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a little tiny ding up there in the left
No,
corner.
sure.
So bummer there. I threw it in at $10. Now this is listed off of a previous sale. So it's a sell one like this listing that I created. All my regular details there. But this is where the AI comes in, is the description. So this is what it says. It says this 2012 Topps Allen and Ginter trading card features baseball player Bryce Harper, numbered 12 in the set. This card is from the base insert set and is considered a short print rookie card. It is made of 20-point cardstock and paper material with English language. The card is not graded, but it is in near mint or better condition. So this is kind of that thing where you might want to tweak this. Tweak this if you want to remove condition. The card's a great addition to any baseball trading card collection, especially for fans of the Washington Nationals and Philadelphia Phillies. The card was manufactured by Topps in the United States and is an original, not a licensed reprint. The card does not feature autographs. The card is from the 2012 season, and it features Bryce Harper, who was the MLB World Series MVP. So what do we think of that?
I love the language. So you
I mean,
can
no one's going to
tell.
read it. Remember that. But
That's what you say. Yep. Um,
it's true.
so I love the language. You can tell exactly what fields it's pulling from, right? Because
Yep.
20 point, there's only one place it could get that from, and that's not something you or I would normally fill in.
No. I
English
don't even know if
language.
that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I
suck
can't.
at like the points of cards. I never know what they are.
Right, right. There's so
But
many variations, it's hard to tell.
yeah,
It's in the English language. Again, that's another one of those fields that I hardly ever fill out anymore.
nope.
I don't know if I ever fill it out anymore, honestly.
No,
Um,
this just one quick second. This listing that I copied from was extremely thorough.
right.
They filled out
You could tell.
everything in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. That's why I
Um,
chose it.
Now, the thing is, you do want to look it over because sometimes the stuff it says doesn't make a lot of sense. Like
Right.
this one said, it's from the base insert set.
Right.
Well, what the hell is that?
Yeah. Exactly.
So I would probably adjust that. I
Mhm.
looked like that was just a base set card. So I would
Yeah.
just take out the word insert and leave the rest, right?
I think what it's trying to refer to is that it's because it's the short print, so it's kind of like an insert. But you're
Maybe.
right. It's yeah. It could be slightly confusing.
Yeah.
I full disclosure, I also did remove something, and then after I thought about it, I was like, oh, I should have left it in there just so to show exactly what the AI said. But it did make a reference in there somewhere that it was a mini card, which it is
Oh,
not.
okay.
That's way more important to remove than anything else because it's a
Yeah.
totally different card.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I thought it was interesting that it pulled his two teams, Nationals and the Phillies, manufactured in the United States. Some people care about stuff like that. I thought it was really interesting when it grabbed original, not a reprint. I
Correct.
thought that was
Yeah.
interesing.
And it's
Does
usually
not feature
general.
autographs.
It's usually general enough where if you're listing 15 2022 Panini Mosaic cards, you can just change on a lot of them, you can just change the name and the number
Right.
and keep on going.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I do. I don't make it more complicated than it has to be. I just want it to be searchable and sell. That's it. It doesn't have to be, each listing doesn't have to be any kind of work of art.
Yeah. I mean, it'll use colorful language like this is a highly sought after card. Well,
Yeah.
it could be to somebody. I don't know. So I'm not going to say that's not accurate. So if it
Right.
says that on
That's
100 cards, I don't care.
right. It kind of goes back to the, well, is this near mint? Is this mint?
Right.
But it's all
Right.
perspective, and I think that one's a lot more riskier to put in because that changes value.
Mm-hmm.
versus, hey, this is a highly sought after card. Well, that's subjective.
Mhm.
Highly sought after. 2 people want it. Is that highly sought after? 1,000 people want it. Is that highly sought out?
Right.
100,000 people want.
Right.
There's no definition for that, and it doesn't change the value of the card. So I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Once you start affecting what somebody's going to pay for it, that's a problem. That's something you don't want to get into. Hey, if you buy this card right now, you won't have to pay taxes on it. Like,
Right.
dude, don't.
Right.
To me, that's saying the same thing as this is mint versus near mint. You're getting a value here.
I had some interesting ones too on like the Superman set that I was working on earlier. I really liked the way it described some of them.
Mhm.
Let me see if I can find a few of them. While you're talking about it, I'll look a couple up.
Sure. What am I talking about?
You're talking about the AI.
Oh yeah. So I think this obviously this is just kind of the beginning of it. This was the biggest motivation on why eBay has been super funky lately on sales and listings being shown and stuff as they were moving to different servers. From what I understand, it was they were moving to their own server network because the servers eBay was currently built on, um, they couldn't do an AI system with it or something, or it wasn't going to be the AI that eBay wanted. I don't know. Whatever it was, that was like the thing where they were like, okay, it's time we get to all our own system and everything, and we can do our AI on there. So maybe now that the AI is functioning and ready to go, maybe we'll see the end of that dead periods on eBay, other than the normal every few nights they do the patches overnight type of stuff, which is normal um, update kind of things on something this immense.
Right. Right.
With so much traffic and so many things going on, they have to take a look at these things pretty regularly and make sure it's the fraud is out. Can you imagine how many people try to break into the eBay servers every day?
Right.
It's got to be insane. That's like breaking into Fort Knox. Although some people claim Fort Knox doesn't have any gold in it anymore, that's why they won't show you. But anyway, that's a tinfoil hat theory, I guess.
Right. Right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I found it really interesting. I thought this one was a good one. I was like, wow, that's actually pretty solid. Like I wouldn't write all that because it's in the description field and no one gives a crap.
Yeah.
But
But
the
if it's
fact that
gonna
it
do
did
it
it
for
for
you,
me,
why not?
yeah. So for those who don't know, how it works is when you get in and you start listing your card. Now I did it in the app, so I'm speaking from the app perspective. But when you get down to the description field, there's a little button with like a little magic wand kind of thing looking on it, is how I remember it. And it says AI generated or AI generator or something like that.
Yep.
So in that description field, you click that and it spins for like 2 seconds and then it spits out the storyline for this card.
Yeah.
Now those might become more dynamic over time. They might be able to clarify things better. We won't have the errors of, oh, this is a base insert card.
Yeah. But they're pretty good. Look at, like, if you want to share the one I just pulled up there. I thought it was great the way it grabbed, like it changed the language so that it was grammatically correct here.
Yeah. I mean, it's AI. It's smart, right? It's going to
Right.
take what's there and it's going to say, "Oh, I've learned from this last time, and now I won't make that mistake."
Yeah.
Or there's more examples that I can draw from now, and I'll use that information and that kind of thing.
Do you see that screen share I got up there?
Uh, I can put it in there. Here's
Yeah, put
Charlie.
it in there. There you go. So this is one of those Superman cards that I listed today. It's Superman 2, number 22, undercover assignment. So I was curious, what was it going to say on this one? Because it's like a character one. It says this trading card features Clark Kent and Lois Lane on an undercover assignment. So I was like, wow, not only does it just take the words and try to throw them into something, but grammatically, it kind of changed the way that title was used and it made sense.
Right.
The card is also part of the base set and includes a puzzle piece as one of its features. So the backside is a puzzle. It's an
Okay.
original non-sport trading card manufactured by Topps. It's not graded and is in very good condition with some wear. Its card number is 22, and it belongs to the Superman franchise. So the one thing I added in there is on condition, because it is in what I would consider very good condition, but it didn't say anything about the wear. So I added that part to be clear that, hey, there's visible wear in this, but for a 1980 card and given, like PSA standards, it would still hit like very, very good. So we go back to that debate about, do you put condition or not? I still am. But I'm kind of referencing PSA standards when I do anything with a lot of wear.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong to it. I just don't want to. I'm not going to evaluate first of all every single card that I list. Of well, this one was near mint, so I better keep that consistent. This one's also near mint, but this one's near mint because it has a smudge. This one's near mint because it has a rough corner. Like I don't know. It's an extremely slippery slope, I believe.
And it's tedious.
And it's tedious, correct. So I was just looking, and I'm not going to do another screen share, but in the 2 hours we've been on here, I've got 4 offers that were made to me and 14 offers I can send, which is pretty solid in a two hour period of time. So those promo things are definitely, they're cooking. So
nice.
But anyway, that's what I've got for tonight. Do you have anything you want to add, Charlie? Otherwise, I think we're pretty much ready to shut her down here. I got to get to bed. Work time tomorrow, so.
Yeah, I don't have anything else around topics. We didn't do any show and share. Were we going to do any of that tonight?
I literally only have one. Like I said, I haven't had much time to buy. I've been so busy on the sell end and list end. But yeah, go for it. You go first.
Well, I thought it was. Do you still have my second camera up that you can pull in?
I do.
Or you want me to just hold them up?
Nope, I got it.
All right. So I thought it was only fair. You were in my backyard with the Otani combo card. So a couple weeks ago when I was traveling, I did.
You put those farves away.
I did some farv shopping. Yeah. Just so here's the deal. I was trying to practice my lot shopping, and I was just trying to think of players that I could search for. And of course, I'm from Green Bay, so Favre comes up, right? So I'm not trying to, go into your backyard there too much. I ordered 2 lots. Good. I'm done for years, probably.
That's right. That's
so I ended up spending 11 cents a card. Let me see if I can get this lined up right because it's moved around a little bit. So yeah, I got. So here's the season highlights. These all came they were 1993 and 2008 cards.
Okay.
So there's a season highlights. I think that's a 96. Here's 3 base cards that came through. So there's a good mix of base cards and inserts. Absolute Beginnings. That's kind of cool. Brett Favre Absolute Beginnings.
I've never seen that card before.
You've never seen that one? I have the preeminent Favre seller in the world, and I got him to say I've never seen that card before.
I've got like 30 copies.
Yeah, I was gonna say you must be sarcastic.
Plus a PSA 10.
Do you really?
Yeah, in my PC. It's one of my favorite Favre base cards.
Some Blitzkrieg, and I'm putting a couple copies up there. So I think that's a pretty cool one.
I just sold one of those the other day for $3. So
nice.
There's market in that one.
So I spent 11 cents on it. National Treasures.
Yep.
Here's a Next Level.
Yep. And that's if you flip that one over, it's the trophy collection version. So that's actually a parallel. You look on the bottom, see where it says trophy collection?
I do see that, yeah.
So it's got that Dufex foil on it. So
yeah. Yeah, I do see the shimmer from that.
Yep.
I got some acetate clear cards.
Yep, those do well too.
Yep, so I got a couple of those.
That's Absolute SSD.
Playoff SSD Momentum.
Yep.
What else came in there? Here's a different one.
Ooh, that's EX. Those are nice.
Yeah, another acetate.
I get like $5-6 a piece on those.
Really?
Yeah, because it's a really high-end 90s card. That's gold standard, or not gold
Is that
standard.
Collector's Edge, I think?
Yeah, but it's the gold graded. It's from the graded. So you would get one graded card per box or something like
Okay.
that with those. Yeah.
I thought this was pretty cool. MVP Mission Possible. So he was chasing the MVP that season.
Yep.
A little bit off center there for you, but
like it.
Canton Calling.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got some nice cards at 11 cents a piece.
I thought so too. This is what did they
Flip
call
that Canton Calling over? Is that numbered?
No, I don't think any of them ended up being numbered. It's 4 out of 10 in a subset.
Yep. That's from I think that's from the ESPN set or something, right?
It's a 2000 Fleer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's
little hollow card.
Yep, Vanguard. Yep, those are nice.
Vanguard, that's it. Yep. I mean, anytime I see the word throwbacks, I love it.
Yep. That's Fleer Ultra, I think.
Fleer Tradition.
Okay.
Yep. Season highlights. I got some Topps Gallery, which I'm a fan of. I know a lot of people don't like them as much.
I like them. They sell pretty well.
SP Extreme.
Yeah, another insert. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I got so I got about 100 Favre cards in this particular lot. What do we got there? Supreme Team.
Nice.
Another hollow. What else we got? I think this was like EX. EX, yeah.
Yeah, that EX stuff is good. You want those.
Really?
Yeah, you did pretty well for your 11 cents a card.
Nice. I like to hear that. Here's another playoff momentum with that, what'd you call it? Dufex foil or something like that, I think?
Yep, the Dufex, yep.
Another EX card. Is this the same one? I don't know if that's the same one or not that I had before. A Fleer Showcase. I got a couple copies of that. Fleer Mystique numbers game. I just thought this looked cool. It reminded me of
a nice insert,
like the Mentalist TV show or something.
Right.
Coming soon, season opener card, 2000 season opener card. That's probably not a big one, but I thought it was a cool one personally. This one is super thin. I don't know who made this one. It's a Pacific Trading Card Company, but it feels like almost a sticker card. Harvard Press in Favre We Trust.
I think they were trying to copy newspaper print.
Yeah.
That's sort of the goal of it, but yeah, it's just an insert.
Couple headline heroes. Again, anything with like a refractor finish, I feel pretty good about for 11 cents, right?
Yeah.
That's a Bowman's Best. So,
yeah, it's a pretty awesome lot. I would have bought that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's obviously not all of them. Here's another Vanguard. I just found another one. Oh, Last Man Standing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that insert too. That's from Metal, I think, right?
Fleer Focus.
Fleer
Focus. Here's a die cut. Point of impact. It's an impact card. Here's a couple Topps Finest. I actually got 4 or 5 of these ones.
Okay. That's 2000, I think, Finest.
Yeah. I think so. Some Topps Certified.
Finest. It's a great product.
Another Bowman's Best. Promotion. Okay. More of these headline heroes.
You have to check those Bowman's Best, too, because there's a promo version of that card, too, and a regular version.
So the promo is going to be a little better, a little more limited?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Hobby Masters?
Yeah, Hobby Masters. Those are nice.
Prolifics.
Okay.
What is this? Oh, this is a combo card. Topps Gold Label Bullion.
Yeah, nice.
So Freeman, Levens, and Favre.
That one's not numbered?
Let's see. I do not see a number on it. No serial number.
Interesting.
Yeah, kind of expected one.
Yeah, I kind of did too. I haven't seen
Couple
that card in a while, so I couldn't remember.
some Purple Tops Chrome. I don't know
Yeah,
if that's a parallel or if that
it's
was
just
just
a base.
color. Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's just a base.
An MVP.
Prolifics, yep.
Yep. And last one, Century Legends. I think that's a
Nice.
base card too, but I think that's
Yeah.
the 2008 card getting towards
So
the end.
it's 100 cards. You got them for what? $10, $11?
$11. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good
1106, I think, was the final tally with shipping.
It's a good buy. Some nice stuff in there. You'll definitely make some money off of that. So well
I
done.
thought so.
Well done. Now stop buying the farm stuff. Leave it.
I know. I'm out of it for a while. Don't worry.
Yeah. Go buy Brewers or something.
That's the problem with you teaching me some of this stuff, Ed.
Right. Yeah. Grasshopper becomes master, right? Isn't that how it goes?
Yeah. So stay out of those Otani combo cards.
Hey, no. Dude, I found that in a box though. That's different.
Fair game.
And you weren't there. No, but all jokes aside, I think that's exactly the whole point of why we do this. I probably wouldn't have looked twice at that card. No, it had Otani on it. I would have bought it for $1. And I think I told you that, no matter what. But I wouldn't have thought it would have been worth $40.
Right.
But through our discussions, I learned that. You're not going to learn every card on your own. So having resources is a positive thing. And same thing. You learned that, man, Favre's got really strong hobby. I should have some of this in my store. You absolutely should. You know? And you live in Green Bay. A lot of my regular customers are in Wisconsin, and they would rather buy from me because I'm in Green Bay. Why not? Right? So Ben Chrisman here has a nice comment. He says, Adam, Charlie, I love both of your content. Keep it up. You guys do what you love, and it's inspiring.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Really
We appreciate you stopping by and appreciate the comment. Exactly. I think we're just doing something that we enjoy. We can make a couple bucks off of. It's fun. It's got its challenges. It's got its rewards. It's got its fun times, bad times. It's it's great. It's a very well-rounded experience. Sometimes I buy higher dollar cards. Sometimes I try to buy 10-cent cards. The beauty of this hobby is that anyone can fit in it, no matter what. You just got to figure out what your place is. So lots of ways to go. That's the other thing that I think about with our stores. I am trying to supply to the end buyer, right? So when I'm buying 500 card lots, they're selling to essentially a wholesaler, right? They're selling them to me at a discount, and they know I'm going to resell them to somebody else.
Right.
So and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you need to know who your customer is, and you have to design what you're going to do based on what your customer is. So to me, having those individualized photos, not grading it myself, putting my grade opinion on there, letting them evaluate that themselves for their own collection, sending them offers, getting them discounts because they're buying it for a PC, not to resell, things like that. I think will help you with that customer base if that's who your customer base is. I got a little bit of show and share, and
all right,
these are interesting because what you have to remember is these were made in 1981. Okay. So it's my Pac-Man stickers, but I bought a complete set of the Miss Pac-Man ones, and there's some funny ones in here. Okay. Now remember, these are out of date. Okay.
You say Pac-Man, and I automatically in my head hear the waka 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 waka.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, who doesn't know Pac-Man, right? These are extremely good sellers for me. So I've been buying them as I go. Call me sometime, right?
That's There's a little racy
with the full body on there, huh?
I don't know if that's appropriate for the channel. That's a little racy.
Oh, it gets better. This one I thought was interesting. Pac-Man Racing Team.
Oh.
Let's see what else we got on here. Let me take the comment off so we're a little bigger. I'm going to take you out of there too.
Yep, you can take that second cam out.
Okay. This one, Miss Pac-Man loves fruity salad.
Okay.
Check this one out. Here's Pac-Man, right? Can you read what that says?
Yeah.
Isn't this crazy?
That is a little crazy. 80s were a different time, my friend.
Here's a Miss Pac-Man one.
Liberated woman.
Here we go back to Pac-Man again.
Yield, it's more fun. Oh my goodness.
Isn't this terrible? Terrible, but kind of awesome. What is this one?
I'm not just another pretty face, for sure.
For sure. Miss Pac-Man.
Little Olivia Newton-John reference there.
Yeah, exactly.
Short, round, and yellow.
A marriage born in Videoland.
Ironically, one of my friends in high school used to call me, "Hey, short round."
Right on. So look at this, right? If this was made today, what would this card say?
Ms. Pac-Man for Ms. America. I don't know. I don't know.
It would say Miss Pac-Man for president, right?
Oh yeah,
but this
probably.
One has to say her high shot here is a beauty pageant winner.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Right? It's funny.
She's very bold.
This one's interesting. Oh, can you read that?
We make beautiful music together. Nice. Sweet. What I forgot. Sassy.
And that's a ghost.
You're right. Oh, another ghost.
But look at this. Okay, so it says, what does it say here? Are you afraid?
Yeah.
And then in super, super tiny letters, he says, no.
That's because he's saying it very meekly.
Right.
About 25 cents worth. Wow. I don't remember these. That's what he thinks.
Just a couple more.
I've got to what?
Put on my face. Fix my face.
Jeez.
Just like a woman. My hero.
That one seems out of place. It's so tame.
Well, yeah, but if you think about it, the female couldn't be the hero. Even though this is her game, she still has to say Pac-Man's the hero, right?
Yeah.
Stay away from my girl. Possessive, right?
Fresh.
So that's a sample. There's like another 40 cards or so here.
Really?
But yeah, they're not quite as entertaining as the ones I selected, but yeah, some of those when I read them, I'm like, man, that was definitely 1981 because I would not.
Yeah, I don't think you would see that today.
The one that shocked me, because I haven't seen all of these, this is the first time I bought a whole set. But the one that shocked me was the Miss Pac-Man one, or the Miss America one. It was like,
yeah,
Miss Pac-Man for Miss America. It's like, really, that's as high as she can shoot. She can't shoot for president, right? Because really, when you were a kid, the top thing you could become would be president.
Right.
So, yeah, it's crazy how stuff changes over time.
Definitely
for the better in this case, right? But that's all we got for you tonight, I think, folks. Anything you want to add, Charlie? Anything you want to sum up?
No, I think good discussion on some of those, sorting and listing strategies. I think the one thing we all landed on is there's no single answer for all of that. It's all kind of dependent on a number of different factors that are unique to your particular situation. So I think we'll end up talking more about that as time goes on, as seasons change, sports seasons and other events come up. But I thought it was a good discussion.
Yeah, I agree. And I like the ones where we don't have an answer. Like it's just a discussion. It's a way to constantly work towards something, whatever that
Sure.
is for you. Um, Tom says don't kink shame her. So
Came from
which
Pac-Man normalizing kinky.
yeah, so just to clarify, we were in no means support or against what any of these cards said. I just thought it was interesting to look at that rewind in time on how. Now remember, these were geared towards kids.
Yeah.
Like these were sticker cards in 25-cent packs. So I don't think you'd see anything that says kinky on it going into a kid's,
Not today.
toy pack. But yeah, it was pretty interesting stuff. So yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. I think lots of good conversations like we have every week. Things we can all work on, and I got some good information out of some things. Hopefully I was able to share some things that were some eye openers. And next week we'll come up with a new set of topics, and it doesn't seem to be that difficult. It seems like every week we've got a few things that sort of pop up where we're like, hey, we got to put this on the show. This is a
Right.
thing. And that's the nice thing about doing it weekly too, because there's even stuff that shows up on eBay, changes and things like that.
Right.
I'm sure we'll bring back into the discussion the raise in the postal rates and how do you work with your current listings when the rates change and things like that. Promotions, I'll have some more results from using promotions and my thoughts on that, and maybe how I tweak it or don't tweak it or whatever. So we'll try to build on that one a little bit, I believe, as well. And the AI will continue to evolve. So I'm sure that'll be a topic again as well.
Well, here's a final note that we can probably all relate to. You know who you are, but if you bought this Kobe card, you still got to pay. Still got to pay.
Yeah. I didn't bring this up earlier, but funny story. I have mine set on auto notify when somebody doesn't pay for a period of time.
Yeah.
But it goes by day. So I had a guy who bought a card, a regular customer who bought a card for me like later last night. And I have it set so that it just sends like a payment reminder in the morning because I'm, trying to catch people. So it sent him a payment reminder within like 6 hours after he bought it.
Oh.
And he was like, dude, chill. And I was like,
that's
sorry,
a
it's on
intense.
auto notice. I didn't, I wouldn't have spent that on my own, but yeah, so you kind of have to watch some of that stuff a little bit here and there, and how it would affect somebody. But
I initially would send one after a couple days, but you kind of changed my philosophy on that because you said I just let eBay handle it. So then I kind of looked at what eBay does a little more, and I was like, yeah, you're right. There's no need for me to get engaged with it. So
sometimes my laziness pays off. If I go, oh, that guy's gonna do it, I'm not doing any. Just like the promotions thing. I'm like, oh, I can just switch it to this dynamic, and then I don't really have to look at it ever again if it's working.
Right.
I'm in. That to me is the thing I want. Something I have to do that's going to add more time for me to do something in a day. I have to look at that a lot closer than I do this one thing, and I'm it's just like the end listings and relist. I can do that in like 5 minutes. And if that gets old inventory sold and I don't have to change prices or give it another boost or whatever, awesome. I can do 5 minutes and take 200 listings and throw them back up there as new listings.
Right.
So yeah, you have to kind of take your list of that stuff of what you need to do and then prioritize it. Listing is number one.
Shipping is number two.
Shipping is number 1.5. Well, argumentative. I guess shipping would be number one because that's your actual sale in your business. But yeah, shipping and listing and shipping. Those are that's it. If you don't have time to do those two, you might as well shut it down.
Yeah.
If you don't do those two, you can't be successful. It's impossible. So once you nail those two and you've got time to maybe try to look at fitting in some other things, great, then go for that. You don't have enough time to list with your phone or individual cards, great, then you need a scanner. You have to decide what you can fit into your time. So all right, that's it for tonight. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. Appreciate it. Thanks for those who participated in the comments. We really appreciate it. We'll be back again next week, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So be sure to join us then. Otherwise, have a great evening, good week, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out.
There he is.